ABC Grandstand. For sports coverage like no other.
Is this the perfect start? You bet it is.
Grandstand AFL.
The big man takes it. What a strong mark. 2 bounces. What a burst. He kicks a goal and it's marked to the square. Has a shot. Kicks a goal. Oh, he is silk. That's opportunistic. Is it long enough? Yes, it is.
Grandstand AFL.
It's a quarter unlike we've seen before.
How did he do that?
And this is love in football if you've ever seen it. Can go for goal. He curls it beautifully.
How do you like that?
You come and watch football because of blokes like that.
You're with Grandstand.
Big grab coming into the back. That's a wonderful mark. Oh, the mark deserves a goal. It swings back and it gets a goal.
The tone has been set. If the leaders are prepared to go down that path to ensure that they win, imagine what the rest are going to do.
Oh, the goal and the kick is there.
Grandstand AFL.
Chance to make the pay, and he does.
I don't think I've ever seen a quarter like this in my life.
He kicks over his head. Remarkable goal.
If you weren't here to see it, you couldn't quite believe what's happening.
He's through. Broke away. Got to 40. Kicked the goal.
Grandstand AFL.
This football is brutal.
On ABC Local Radio and on digital radio, ABC Grandstand.
How do you recover after such a demoralising start to a season with 6 months to ponder and so much time to prepare? Collingwood came out and were diabolical against the Sydney Swans. And surely the only way back is on a 6-day turnaround to bring something to the MCG and find some momentum to get this season underway. They run into Richmond, who are unflattering in their own regard, but they've got 4 points to show for their struggles on opening night. But they treated the week like a loss, so they'll be just as hungry, one fancies, as the Pies that they come up against. Friday night footy is a juicy prospects, regardless of it only being round 2. Collingwood and Richmond with plenty at stake. Gerard Waitley with you down on the MCG. Many a tale to be told across this round on this ground, not the least of which on Sunday when Hawthorn and West Coast go at it in the grand final rematch. But Collingwood and Richmond, David Parkin, there's an urgency around it. I don't know whether it's a confected urgency, but everybody within football seems to think you've got to make it happen quickly in a fresh season.
And I think that's a fair comment. We were told before that the last 38 teams who have suffered losses in round 1 and 2 didn't make the finals, and you would think that, not that they'll be, hovering around that kind of statistic, but if you were Collingwood on the back of the performance they didn't give last week, the most amazing non-performance that I can remember in a round 1, with expectation high, finished 12th last year. I think they finished 11th or 10th this year. Thought they'd get better. They looked terrible. Other than the young boy they recruited from GWS, he looked all right, but he wasn't a part of it. So it was probably as poor a performance. And the question you ask is the obvious one: how does a coach in Buckley's position react to? We know how hard we reacted to. It wasn't a win. In fact, we're calling this a loss, even though we got 4 points, and trained accordingly.
Yes.
They tell me it was a stinking hard week at Richmond on the back of what you get when you've had a loss that wasn't expected. But it is a very difficult situation in which Nathan Buckley finds himself, and to build confidence on the back of nothing, and that's nothing. They were half reasonable during the pre-season competition, but no one would have envisaged a total lack of contest stuff. They were dreadful. They couldn't get the ball in the first place. Their lack of work with and without the ball was terrible. And when they did get it, they butchered it front, back and middle. So it was just a deplorable and unpredictable performance. And he will have, I think, hopefully sat on the positives, because we know they're better than that. Individually and collectively, they're better than that. But if they don't say something tonight, at least in terms of effort and contest, then a lot more questions than have already been asked will be asked.
We're standing in front of the Collingwood Social Club where there must be an air of trepidation. Brad Sewell, welcome. Can you lose your way at the start of a season? They say in a golf tournament you can't win it in the first 2 rounds, but you can sure as hell lose it.
I think you can certainly lose your way. And listening to what Parker was saying there, as a young side, you can either, as the coach, as Buckley reviewing a game, you can take one of 2 approaches. You put it to the side as some sort of an aberration and don't try and dig too deeply into it, because it was just so far from what we saw during the pre-season. And being a young side, you need to try and build that confidence and keep that within them. Or you actually pick the eyes out of it and really address things that way. Now, as I said, as you made the point earlier in terms of losses straight up, given the nature of the first half of the season, you don't want to be playing catch-up because that becomes so tiresome, which is why this game tonight, round 2, is so interesting.
Jared Witts, we're inside the Collingwood camp here. Jared, welcome to Grandstand AFL.
Thanks for having me. Sure.
What's the week been like around the club?
Obviously, we just had to go through the process of dissecting last weekend's game, the performance that we put up. So it wasn't up to standard, so to address that and then try and move on from it as quickly as possible with a short turnaround.
Have you got an understanding of how it happened? I mean, we know Collingwood went with a good sense of confidence and optimism off the pre-season and then sort of naught.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious. We just got beaten around the ball. I think we lost contested possession by a pretty big margin, and in the end we just couldn't get the game on our terms. So if we can turn that around and at least get the ball in our hands a bit more, then hopefully we can put a better show on, yeah.
Can you sense a resolve? Do you know what that feels like off the back of a bad performance? But Collingwood have been pretty good at bouncing back in recent times.
Yeah, like I said, if we can get the game on our terms early, I think that'll set it up for us a bit better. But it all comes back to the contest and the stoppages and winning the ball at the source. So if we can do that, then we can set up defensively and offensively. That'll put us in the best stead going forward.
So we're hoping tonight, as you're saying, that the midfielders set the tone early. Ferocious attack of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got a bloke in the midfield who probably didn't play the way they would have wanted, self-included. So I'm sure they'll be out there to prove a point tonight and right the wrong, I guess. Yeah.
Did you actually review the game in much depth or just put it to the side and say, look, guys, we've actually had a really good preparation. That was just one out of the bag. Don't know how, don't know why. Keep the energy levels up. Or did you actually pick the eyes out with a bit of depth?
Yeah, just because it's a short turnaround, you probably don't review it as in-depth as what you would if it was a 7 or 8 day. But, I mean, we had to take out a few things. So we watched a few edits and went through a few things. But at the end of the day, it just came back to, like I said, just winning the ball. So, I mean, you can't really take too much more out of it than that. So, yeah.
Can I ask, because Bucks is a pretty, very positive bloke. So building... Yep. The strengths of this team, and it has been building, hasn't it? You'd be confident about where this club is, where this team and going. It's not a lot of lack of talent or anything like that. You've been putting things in place. So his ability to sell that and communicate, that's very strong, isn't it? That's one of his strong assets.
Yeah, he's a harsh, fair coach. So, I mean, like I was going to say, I mean, he put out a pretty good game plan to us to go forward with, and we didn't execute it. So it was on us. And yeah, like I said, we've got to turn it around, and we've got to, because there is a big belief in the group, like you're saying, and we've made good inroads. We've had a pretty good NAB Cup, massive pre-season. We've just got to put it into practice now and get the game going on our way.
You're not out there tonight. You've got the split webbing, was it?
Yeah, I got a few stitches in between the index and middle finger. So, fortunately, I hit out. Just the ball got stuck between my fingers and split it pretty badly. So, got to keep it in for this weekend and then see how we go next week.
So Heath Grundy comes back. What's the sense of competition and camaraderie like between the two of you? I take it you want to be the first ruckman.
Yeah, I think everyone wants to be the first ruck. I mean, in an ideal world, if we could play well together and both play in the same team and be impacting up forward, then I think that'd be the best case for everyone. But at the end of the day, you want to be the first ruck, and he's going to get a great opportunity tonight against a quality opponent in Hampson. So hopefully he can get a few hit-outs to advantage, and then we can go forward from there.
You had a choice to make, obviously, to stay at Collingwood, which you did. What swayed you? Why do you want to be here and build the career?
Well, I honestly believe that we're on the right path, like we spoke about before, and I've got some great mates here, and I believe in what Bucks is trying to achieve as a coach at this club. So I'm trying to buy into that as much as I can and see how we go going forward.
Good on you, Jared, and good luck watching tonight. We hope to see you back quickly.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
Jared Witts, injured Collingwood ruckman, with us. The Tigers are out warming up right in front of us, and they're an interesting study as well, David. This is about setting standards for them. They don't want to be the team who falls in or falls over in the first week of the finals, and I imagine the coach in you loved the fact that Damien Hardwick said he was treating last week like a loss.
Well, I do, and I think probably, if you're being dead set honest, that would be the way to go. I'm not so sure I would have in that position, but it's the right thing to do. Absolutely, to take it on its merit, and it was far below what I think we expected and what they expected. There is a bit of a problem, I think, in the Richmond makeup. I reckon that they've got the bookends at both ends, terrific. They've got a couple in the midfield, including the captain, who come to really play. I just reckon that the overall talent spread and the depth of that talent is not at the level where we can expect them to confidently make the finals and certainly win one. I still think they're an inch away from that. And it's not an inch, it's not the way they're playing or who they've got now, it's who they don't have. And I think they've still got to recruit very heavily certain players to come in and make them better. Now, they've chosen one, the bloke from Carlton, who hasn't been able to get up for whatever reason or not, and I think he does add some real talent. Real genuine talent, but there are not enough of them at the moment because they'll get sides who are just as hungry, who haven't had the success which Richmond haven't had, but being a better, far better armoury, in my opinion, to play the game. So I think they're a good, strong step away from being a genuine, not finals contender, but certainly a premiership contender.
Parko, talent's a dangerous word, I think, when you're surmising a side, because there's no doubt there's a hell of a lot of talent out there, but the effort that they put up from time to time isn't a lack of talent, as we saw last week. That was just sheer lack of effort or laziness or whatever you want to put it down to. So that talent argument, no doubt it's there, but it's a dangerous path to head down.
Well, they can't. I mean, their coach can't even be thinking that way because he's got to the stage where he's working with what he's got. And if you know Damien well, if you have a conversation with Damien, he'd convince you. He'd convinced me that what they have in terms of structure and the talent in it is good enough to take anybody on their day. But we can't predict. We come here tonight. Let's be honest about it. We watch a lot of footy. But we come here tonight. I mean, there's a lot of questions about Collingwood, but I reckon Collingwood will stand up and fight the fight tonight. But we don't know within games and between games what we're going to get from Richmond. And how long's that been? It's been, well, Dimmer's been in the job for, 5 years now? This is his sixth year, and I still can't predict what they're going to bring to the game, and tonight is no different.
And tonight's fascinating because we know Collingwood will be fierce in the way that we've just had described. So it's on Richmond to match that. And if they're fair income, they come and win tonight. And we said that last week, and they fumbled around and they set up a lead, which they then gave up, and they had to sort of all shoulders to the wheel in their own way at the end to get it done. But if you get an opponent that is weakened in the manner that Collingwood is and shell-shocked from that, if you meet the physical challenge early, Brad, and then lock in, a good team wins.
Without a good team wins, which is why last week for both sides is such an interesting concept to review, because arguably Richmond played the worst, one of the worst sides of the competition this year, and Collingwood, well, we don't quite know exactly how good Sydney are going to be, but regardless, Collingwood didn't show up whatsoever. So you'd expect maximum effort from both of these sides, because as we discussed earlier, when you're playing catch-up for the second half of the season, that becomes a really difficult, tiresome, effort-intensive process to get through, and both of these sides have put expectations and pressure on themselves to make the top 8.
Well, are they? What my question is, are they then capable of coming out here maybe in a 100-minute rumble? Are these two sides capable of playing in that with that sort of attitude, not worrying about kicking 15 goals and winning, not worrying about how good we look and how substantial, but in fact, can we get in and rumble for the 15 rounds of this game tonight? And I'm not sure that either has the capacity to do that. I reckon we'll get portions of the game that'll be like that. They'll open up and both will play some reasonable football, and depending on their ability to convert that control of the game into scoreboard pressure is the way the game will be won or lost. But I don't reckon either are into the rumble in the jumble.
Oh, the 100-minute rumble.
You keep talking like this, mate. I'm going to want to try and get out there and roll around at some stage.
Turn to the fans. Just they're hanging over the fence, David, staring you down.
You understand where I'm coming from, because I think tonight, if anything else, is going to demand that. But I'm not sure that either club or this teams around here tonight have the capacity to deliver that.
It's on them to prove it. Yep. It's a beautiful quirk that all the winners play all the losers. Gillan McLaughlin was saying this morning he's been told it was 1902, which I presume was 8 teams, so 4 games. So think about how difficult it is to get the 18. And I mean, everyone at the AFL is hoping for 1 and 1 of 18 teams. It'll be some combination of that. So that sense of urgency around the competition, I think it's here on Sunday afternoon. We'll just stray for a minute because we both know Hawthorn so well. We've marvelled at them. The cumulative toll of a long reign at the top and the misfortune of a load of injuries that diminishes your talent right at the start of the season. Brad, from where we were at the start, Do you feel like this is an even more immense challenge? And it was a historic quest anyway, but this is monumental in the way that it's shaping up.
Yeah, it is, and I think we had this same discussion last year as well, and probably the year before when Clarko was out. It was illness, but this is different because of that accumulative fatigue effect. These guys, and a handful of guys that are over 30, they've all played an extra 3 or 4 games for the last 4 or 5 years now, which takes its toll, which adds up. Another quirk is also the fixture in itself. It's not an even draw. It is a fixture where it is designed for evenness of the competition. And if it was an even draw, it might be a different scenario. But given that the fixture is set up in the manner that it is, it just makes things so difficult for sides to consistently back up year after year after year. Amazingly, Hawthorn have, but at some stage, something has to give.
So with what they're already missing and this start of the season, with Hodge going down, where's the tipping point? And is that the tipping point in your mind?
The tipping point won't necessarily be this week. It'll be the next couple of weeks, where all of a sudden the pressure's building. The club's starting to feel the heat. Clarko's feeling the heat because, we were talking off air before, Parko. They've got some first 5 games are really, really tough. Really tough. So they'll know that, and they're feeling that internally. And you're bringing these young kids in at the bottom end. The structure-wise, they know what they're doing, but they don't have the experience, the pressure, and the pressure's going to be internal as well. I'd imagine if they're even, 2 and 2, 3 and 3 at that point of the year, they'd be very, very happy with that, knowing that Hodge is getting back out there, Ruffy's getting closer as well. They're getting some games, some consistency into the group out there, but it makes it tough.
Yes, I'm anxious.
Where are you going?
Well, I'm anxious the first time. I think you talk about a tipping point. I think it's coming very quickly. I would have said they're 0-3, and the 2 in round 4 and 5 are very, very solid opponents as well. Then I think it's very hard to create seeds of doubt, both on and off the field at Hawthorn. But I think that would be a realistic. They're as realistic as anybody else about where they are. They won't be sprouting it. They won't be coming out from the club in the pub. But we'll be talking along those lines and looking for replacements for Hawthorn in a Final 4 and probably as a premiership prospect. So I think they've been taxed, and he's right. Sully's right in that they've been taxed for a long period of time now, and the blokes who continue to deliver, still their best 4 or 5 players again at the weekend were their oldest, more experienced players. The players like Sicily and company, they've got to come through now and pick up the numbers and play. Smith went forward and played forward, middle or not middle. They lost a bit of drive from him. So there are some players in there who, on the back of the engine room that's been so good for so long, have lived off it, and they're going to have to get a bit more of their own ball. I'm not so sure that they're capable of doing that.
That's why Sunday sets up so well, as you'll get the attitudinal response from Hawthorn, but they hit a West Coast team who's the vanquished grand finalist. Now, I always think of that game 2 years ago after Hawthorn had beaten Fremantle, and then they came out and decimated them first up, sort of to finish the job. The first time they met, no level of balm to be applied by Fremantle getting back. They crushed them, and that held for a long time. So I could imagine them wanting to do that, but West Coast just get them at such an interesting time where the personnel is a real issue, and Fremantle, West Coast looked formidable in their first up encounter. So Sunday afternoon on this ground has even more in it than a grand final rematch ordinarily would. Ahead of Collingwood and Richmond tonight, there's been a curtain raiser on the ground. The first appearance this year of the AFL Academy. So this is the nursery of the draft picks coming through at the end of this season. Our own Brenton Sanderson he's the coach of the AFL Academy in this bridging program that's been set up. Brenton? Yep. Welcome to Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, thanks, Stuart. It's nice to be back here coaching again. It's great.
So, what did we see tonight? Who are these?
Well, these are the NAB AFL National Academy players. These are the 33 players preparing for the draft, I guess, at the end of the year. Supposedly the cream of the crop. So the ones that we're fast tracking to get onto AFL list at the end of this season. So this was a hit out tonight against obviously a senior VFL side, but really good opportunity for these boys to get some good form leading into the start of the year.
So a bit of context around what we saw last weekend, and I think this has become a bit of a finishing school for draftees. At this time last year, Wiedering and Parrish and Oliver, are they in the frame in a game like this?
Oliver didn't play in this game last year. He wasn't part of the academy, but you're right. It was Wiedering, Shaki, Darcy Parrish, Calamarchi, a lot of boys, obviously Dunkley, who played last week for the Western Bulldogs, and Dave Burton played well. So it really is a stepping stone for the draft at the end of the year. And typically the boys that played well in this game last year went in the first or second round in the draft. So Jacob Wiedering was the best player on the ground this time last year in this corresponding game. And of course, last week for Carlton looked like he'd been playing AFL for 10 or 15 years. Just so much maturity. So that's, I guess, the objective of this program, is to prepare these boys as best we can for the next step into the AFL.
So would those boys take great encouragement from what they saw last weekend, knowing they're coming here tonight and the chance to be part of it, to improve and to impress?
Yeah, 100%. And we did remind the boys of that in last night's meeting. So the 18 AFL clubs sat in a team meeting last night with these boys, and we talked about their roles today and the positions that they would play, so the AFL clubs can better assess them at playing that role. And we did remind them that a lot of the last year's first round draft selections who played well last week were sitting in those boys' chairs, this time last year. So it's a massive year for these boys, so exciting. Great to see some of these boys play well tonight and really put their name up in lights in front of the AFL clubs.
So give us a couple of those names who have caught your eye and pleased you as a coach.
Well, the best player tonight for us was Will Brodie, who's from the Murray Bushrangers. He's boarding at Scotch College. He was fantastic. Jared Berry from North Ballarat. He's outstanding. Probably goes in the first 4 or 5 in the draft if they called the names out now. Jonty Scharenberg, the younger brother of Matt Scharenberg, who's already on Collingwood's list. He's from Glenelg in South Australia. Jack Bowes, he's part of the Gold Coast Suns Academy, so one of those really successful Northern Academy programs that are going so well. Sam Petrevsky-Seaton is an Indigenous boy from Halls Creek, way up in the Kimberleys. Yeah. But is down playing for Claremont. He's an exciting talent. So I guess there's 5 or 6 names who are going to really be pushing their name up for the first round in the draft later this year.
All right, they're heading off. I better let the coach go with them. Thanks a lot, Brenton.
Good on you. Thank you very much.
The Chairman's Cup was presented. Werribee beat the AFL Academy, but it's not about the scoreboard, it's about the development. And David, that was one of the key learnings out of last weekend. This program has been brought in to help the 17 and 18-year-olds find their way immediately into the AFL instead of the lag that had been there, which has been the lament of some senior coaches. And on the evidence of what we saw last weekend, Brenton Sanderson has made inroads with the likes of Brad Johnson and Luke Ball and Glenn Jakovich and Matthew Lloyd, who are all part of a finishing school.
And it's come at the right time. There's a great debate over the last couple of years about the apprenticeship, which is required, having been drafted, to actually come to play the game that league football is, which the under-18 football isn't. And to think that this step in between, for most of those, and there's a terrific bunch of players here, probably 80% of them will be drafted at some stage, are able to make that step just a little easier on the back of the experiences they've had leading in. No doubt about it, is a very good part of our development program.
So the banners are out on the MCG, Richmond and Collingwood in this Friday night fixture, and a real edge around, given what the potential stakes are here. And we're just hearing little whispers along the way. Collingwood's wound up like a top, as you would expect.
And maybe, I mean, you think that will work, and we want them to do it. But it might go to the other extreme too, that we might see such expectations, such demands on players. I think being able to get players in the right frame of mind and get the balance correct. And if they're a young group, and they still are a young group, you don't want to take them over the top. And I've been responsible for doing that with individual players and groups of players who just weren't ready for the demand that we were putting on them. So, let's keep our fingers crossed that they had the opportunity to come out in the right frame of mind, wound up ready to play and give their lot, but not over the top where they start to make errors which destroy them.
We'll touch base with the Tigers shortly and welcome the two teams out on the ground before we head up into the box. The Tigers and the Pies coming up.
Audio, video, photos and stories. There's a world of great sport content for you to explore on the ABC Grandstand website. Get the latest results and stories. Stay up to date with AFL, NRL, cricket A-League, golf, in fact, all things sport. Simply log on to abc.net.au/grandstand. ABC Grandstand.
Grandstand. On radio, online, and on digital radio. ABC Grandstand. For sports coverage like no other.
It's been a week raking over the coals.
Richmond will have asked more questions about themselves than they answered.
Some areas that were disappointing in tonight. Played pretty poorly, it'd be fair to say.
Who would have thought Collingwood would be less competitive than Essendon? They've been exposed very, very easily, or way too easily for me. Effort was poor right from the start.
There wasn't anything that was redeeming in that performance at all.
It's a result that's shocking for the Collingwood Football Club. That was a team who was mentally ill-prepared to play.
Wish we could turn back time to the good old days when the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed out.
Richmond at least had the 4 points from the opening rounds.
He goes galloping down the field as the siren sounds, and Richmond avoids the pitfall of opening night.
But it was trying to fool no one.
Yeah, we were disappointed with the way we played. We're very fortunate to get away with the 4 points.
Collingwood stared down unmitigated failure.
A horror show to start the season for Collingwood. There'll be a mutiny in the Magpie Army if this keeps up.
And an immediate need to restore hope and ambition.
There wasn't many positives, but you treat it like you had a big win or a close loss. You've got to take something out of it individually, and one game doesn't define us. You know, we've just got to make sure we bounce back strong on Friday night.
Wish we could turn back time to the good old days when the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed out.
Boyd breaking through, spinning around Murphy, snapping, superb, inspired stuff.
Dropped it again, snapped it again, and gold it again.
Grandstand AFL.
Regardless of how early it is in the year, there's a serious bounty on Friday night footy as the Magpies and Tigers clash on Grandstand AFL.
Wish we could turn back time to the good old days when the mama
The 100-minute rumble is how David Parkin has defined tonight as Collingwood and Richmond go at it. Gerard Whateley and David Parkin standing down in front of the Collingwood Social Club where the banner is up. Wave your scarf, support the Pies. Tonight's our night, eyes on the prize. The Tigers just over to our left. It's not their home game, so no drums or fireworks tonight. Tonight the Tigers will do no wrong. At the end of the night, we'll be singing our song. A key 4 points up for decision. And David, the people that you bump into standing down on the ground. Thorold Merritt, who's not only a Collingwood star, but been an ABC great. He's one of your predecessors.
He was one of my predecessors, and for those who can't remember, I'm old enough to remember him actually playing. A beautifully gifted, balanced, small, fast-running, left-footing wingman, and played a multitude of games at a very high level. A wonderful player for Collingwood.
We're going to grab a couple of minutes with Shane Edwards here, who's one of the Tigers who's missing tonight. That growing list of injuries. He did his hand in the first round. He's with us on Grandstand AFL. Shane, welcome.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Surgery on the hands. We're just having a look at it. Still a bit swollen and sore on the palms and the bandage on the back. What happened?
Well, I just got tackled and sort of rode into the turf and came up. It was pretty crooked, so should be right next week, though.
So what repair work have they done?
Just put a few little screws in it and a plate, so, you know, it's all fine.
You make it sound so casual.
I keep accidentally shaking everyone's hand with my right hand, so that's probably been the worst part.
You haven't had much luck at the start of the season with an injury in the NAB Challenge and then straight into this. You haven't walked under a ladder or anything, have you?
I might have. It seems that way, but it could be worse. So I'm still thankful for just the minor injuries.
How important is a bit of continuity as you try to work your way into a season?
Yeah, it's pretty important. You want to get your touch right, so you just feel a bit off when you get back out there. So that's something you need to do on the training track and make sure you're in top shape, even when you miss a game.
With the bit of time to reflect on last week, is the team looking forward to getting out there and trying to go a bit better, even regardless of the win?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of areas to work on from last week. Take nothing away from Carlton, but we didn't really play the way we wanted to play, and you know they beat us in a lot of our KPI areas. So we need to make sure we win our contested footy this week.
I was fascinated. The coach talked about the game publicly as if you lost, which was interesting. But I'll tell you, more interesting was been the week. I think he's actually trained them like they did lose. Is that a true indication? Because I've heard two people on radio today from the club saying it was one of the more, difficult weeks in terms of players.
We train tough, but we always train pretty intense. So it was no surprise that the Dimmers pulled someone up in a small session. So there's nothing out of the ordinary. I think the fact that we're pretty down about our win last week probably emphasises and makes it a bit blown out, a bit more blown out than what it is.
So that's interesting from my point of view. So even players who I think performed more than adequately, probably 50% of the side were below what I would have thought their expectation was. The group were given a good dousing.
Yeah, well, some guys played well, but we need our whole team to play up to a certain standard. When we don't have enough guys playing to that standard, we're most likely going to lose, and that's what happened last week. We didn't have enough guys playing well enough. So if that keeps happening, we're not going to win as many games as what we need to win. So that's mainly the reason. It's a collective, not such an individual thing.
So I'm assuming the review was a rigorous one on Monday. Dimmer stands there and talks to the group, yells to the group, whatever he does. Do the senior players have any input in the review after a game like that?
Absolutely. Mainly about standards. We want to make sure we're doing all the little things, and we know what we're meant to do out there. So it's about why we're not doing it, and whether it's a lack of effort or being in the wrong spot or thinking about yourself, things like that. They're up to the leaders to make sure it spreads across the group.
Yeah, and are those leaders, do they actually speak to each other and review their own games sort of internally, or is that just done on a one-on-one basis with the coach?
The leaders meet before game review, and we talk about the things that need to be talked about, like what happened on the oval and things like that, and the general feel of the group. So anything that needs to be brought up like that gets brought up before the meeting and gets sort of spread throughout the meeting as well.
Yeah. Is there particular players that have got a really stronger voice or a stronger influence than others?
Oh yeah, I guess there always is, like Koch.
Besides the obvious, the captain, of course, but the guys that sort of pop up and say a bit more that we wouldn't expect to, or that might surprise us.
I'm not sure who you expect, but Ivan has a lot to say in that regard. He leads our team on field with the standards and off field, so he's one person you really don't want to let down. That's not the coach, and that's Ivan.
You speak to Ivan off the footy field, and he's such a big, gentle giant, but out there, he is almost your spiritual leader, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's scary. When he puts a hit down, you want to make sure you're grabbing it cleanly, or he gives you those eyes, those big scary eyes. So he's a good presence on field and off field. He's great for the club.
Notwithstanding the interrupted start to the year, what expectations have you set for yourself individually after such a good year last year?
I want to make sure I'm playing consistently throughout games. Last year I'd have good halves, good quarters here and there, so it's about keeping myself involved, and if the ball's not coming forward as we'd like, to make sure I go in the midfield and get myself involved, because it's good for myself, but more importantly it's good for the team to have everyone involved.
And have you worked on that with coaches or peers or a mentor, or how do you go about improving yourself?
Well, a lot of it is up to feeling out the game myself if I'm not involved, but it's also about like my teammates giving the ball and sharing the load throughout the midfield. We can't just put the whole load on Koch. It'd just be too much for him. So it's more about everyone doing what I'm trying to do as well. That's get themselves involved and being aware as well. We've still have a fairly young team, so making sure I spread my knowledge as a senior player in the team as well to everyone else.
You're expecting to play next week?
Yeah, I am.
Good luck with it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Shane Edwards from the Tigers camp as the Magpies break through their banner, David. So many questions around players. Travis Cloak has just run past us, and he has to give them something. He is their high-priced key forward who they don't kick it to anymore, and that is a fatally flawed system that has to turn tonight, and it has to be done in a hard way against Alex Rance.
Well, if they don't, there's no one else to go. They can't expect young Moore to be doing the job that he does. He's got to get on his bike. People are saying sitting back in the 50 bomber on his head. He takes occasional contested marks with an individual opponent, never takes the pack mark. He's got to get on his bike and use the assets which he had, which is a huge tank, get up the ground, and they have to kick the ball to him.
Rance? Well, his coach told us he's the best fullback since Matthew Scarlett. It's actually hard to mount a case against that at the moment. So he knows this is a Cloak down on confidence. A lot swings on him. If he can keep Cloak under wraps and out of the game, that goes a long way.
Well, on the basis that I believe he can and will, I don't see Collingwood to win the game. I think Cloak's the essential part of it. He doesn't have to be a dominant player, but he's got to be a committed and participation player, which he wasn't last week. And I think he's probably in the state of mind where he needs a break, but he's not going to get the break from his opponent. So I'm picking Richmond to win on the basis that Cloak will not be able to make the difference in the way that he has to for this team to function.
So Scott Pendlebury's led them out as a lot's got to come from him. Heath Grundy can give them a presence in the middle. He's that sort of aggressive player, and Marich is not on the other side of the circle. And Trent Cotchin, who we talk about each week at the moment, he's got to have the Tigers in the right mind to resist that Collingwood, the metal of the first 10 minutes, which they are guaranteed to bring.
Absolutely, and it is a fascination because we're constantly asking questions here that we don't know the answers to, and I think that all goes well for a game of question. If we're not sure about it, if it's unpredictable, then we're going to have a great night.
They're good brewers in the social club, aren't they? Yeah. That's the greeting from the Collingwood fans towards the Tigers. So they go through their banner, winners in round one against losers in round one, but both looking for something substantially better. The 100-minute rumble's coming up. Collingwood and Richmond at the MCG. Let's head up into the grandstand AFL box. Adam White is with Lindsay Gilbey and Brad Saw.
Yes, thank you, Jared. It is a strange week. All the winners from round one take on all the losers from round one. So, it means that there's a fair bit of a bounty on not only this game, but plenty of games throughout the course of the weekend. As Jared said, I've got Lindsay and Sully's come back to the box as well. And the pressure is on both of you. 3 things that you expect or you want to see tonight from this contest between the Tigers and the Magpies. Brad Sewell opened the batting last week, so it's you this week. Lindsay?
No worries. Whitey, thanks for having me. Fantastic night for footy, mind you. I'm really looking forward to this one. The first thing is the response from both sides into one particular area, and that's the contest. Both were very poor in this area last week, so I want to see a few bodies go in, a little bit of claret now and then, just to see how much this means to both teams. Number 2 for me, it's the captains. There's a lot riding on this game. Even though Richmond got the 4 points last week, Trent Cotchin wasn't quite at his best. So I'm looking to see how Pendlebury and Cotchin go about their footy tonight. And the third one for me is Ty Vickery. He kicked 3 last week, but one of those goals was from downfield and one was a 50-metre penalty that was actually end up being delayed down to him. So he only really earned the 1 goal. I want to see him grab a game by the scruff of the neck, take 6 or 7 contested marks and hit the scoreboard. So that's something I'm looking forward to tonight.
All right, Lindsay Gilbey will be on the boundary with us right throughout the course of the evening. Sully?
Unfortunately similar themes. I want to see a fight out there tonight for both of these. We're talking
on the review panel.
Well, I don't mind now.
Obviously, big melee.
Big melee. Keep the match review panel boys in there all night, all afternoon, trying to sort out who gets what. But it's almost unfair that round 2 there's so much riding on a game like this where regardless of what happens there's going to be a huge story that comes out of this tomorrow for one side or another.
Okay, so is that fair? As someone that's only just recently been a player...
Is that fair? That's nature of the beast.
It's round 2?
Two of the biggest clubs in the competition, both in Melbourne, nature of the beast. It's a privilege to play for these clubs. The biggest clubs, commercially, membership-wise, however you want to put it. That's what you expect. Like it or lump it, if you don't enjoy it, then you're not going to last long and you get spat out.
Spot on.
And I'll pick up on that point again shortly, Linz. That my second one is maybe a bit more of a fight again. Cloak and Rance. Cloak has not been the player that we're accustomed to for a short period now. And so I'm going to be watching him tonight just to see how hard he's working. And unfortunately for him, the spotlight's on him off the back of last week. I don't think he had a touch for the first half of the game. It's Friday night and he's playing on the best fullback in the competition at the moment, if not arguably for the last 10 years. So how hard he's prepared to work Rance over, how physically he's prepared to be with him, how hard he's prepared to fight to actually get himself in the game.
He's lost 5 kilos in the off-season because he felt he needed to get on his bike a little bit more and push up the ground. Can you lose too much weight as a key forward where you actually lose one of your strengths, which is that one-on-one?
Yeah, well, naturally you can. It's easy for those guys to put it back on though. So he'll assess that over the next couple of weeks. And if he can't get a kick, he might just start eating burgers for a few weeks to pack a few kilos back on again and get back in the gym.
I can tell him how to put on 5 kilos.
Can I just quickly jump in on before you say your third one?
Yep.
After doing all the analysis on all the teams last week, there was so much one-on-one contest around the footy and forward of the ball. So he's gone the other way, where last week you saw so many one-on-ones that we haven't seen in football for a long time. So he's lost the weight, but it could be detrimental, like you said, Whitey, to his performance. Just analysing the teams over the last week, a lot of equal numbers around the footy and one-on-ones in your forward line.
Yeah. I just don't understand how these guys can lose 5 kilos. I don't know where they lose 5 kilos from. I mean,
food choices.
Nick Revolt is built like a rake, and he lost 5 kilos.
He really is now. My third one tonight, I'm really looking forward to watching Treloar play. And I think he's an absolute gun that probably got under the radar, certainly of the public, I think, being hidden at GWS. Now he is at the biggest club in the competition, and I'm really looking forward to watching him work, his skills, his endurance, his speed. He reads the play well. I'm looking forward to watching that tonight.
All the talk, Sully and Lindsay, in the build-up to this game and through the off-season was Treloar choosing Collingwood over Richmond. Now, if you're a Richmond player, do you talk about that tonight? Do you get into him about it? Or is that taking your eye off the ball and what you really should be doing?
I think it's a bit of both for me. You maybe have the odd little chirp and have a look at the scoreboard. The scoreboard will dictate. And I think as a player, I wouldn't really say anything unless he said to me, I hope he goes out and absolutely brains them tonight.
If I was Dimmer, off the back of the week that they just had, I'd have taken that as a personal insult, pushed that back on the Richmond boys and said, this guy chose this club over us. How are you going to confront that? Are you going to let him to walk through us and play his natural game, or are we going to be physical and let him think that he should have chosen us?
Play the video in the team meeting before they run out, you reckon?
Absolutely. Oh, maybe not to that extent, but I'd really wind them up. You mentioned about the captains, Lindsay, and how important it is for them to play well. For me, yes, they have to play well, but I want to see them really roll their sleeves up and get dirty when it needs to be done. Pendlebury does do that, I think. He can certainly hurt you on the scoreboard and have a huge influence on games, but you don't see that as much from Cochin when they really need it from him.
Yeah, that's why I was referring to it. Cochin was probably low on his standards last week from his contest, so I'm with you on that one. I want to see him crack in.
Yep. All right, go down to the boundary. Lindsay, David Parkin about to come back in. Jared has arrived from the Collingwood Social Club to the box. Well done in getting back up here, Jared.
They're waving their scarves and flags, trying to revisit an old tradition that used to hold through the 50s and 60s of the orchestrated waving of flags and scarves above heads at the start. So once Scott Pendlebury had been to the toss, which he won, and they'll kick to the punt road end, that's the cue to get animated for the Collingwood fans. Out on the ground, this will be animated from the start, surely. So who have you picked, Brad Saul?
I'm going with Richmond on the base. I was about to say because I've got more upside than Collingwood, but Collingwood got plenty of upside after last week as well. No, I think Collingwood should win tonight. Not easily, not convincingly, but they didn't play well last week. They managed to get over the line. They'll obviously need to improve a hell of a lot from that last week.
So the Tigers for
me.
The Tigers for David. Said downstairs in a close one, David.
Yeah, I'm not so sure how close it will be, but I think Richmond have brought a better form, not much better, but better form, and a better group of players at the moment than Collingwood have on the field.
Adam?
Collingwood for me.
Jared?
Yeah, Richmond, but narrowly. I doubt that there's much between the two of them if they do bring their best.
Nice to hear you off the fence anyway.
Only get wedged every now and then. So what are they made of? I suspect that will be a theme tonight. Collingwood and Richmond in the search for something better. The last of the pageantry before the opening siren. A flock of magpies on the scoreboard. The siren rings out around the MCG. And Richmond and Collingwood set to rip into each other on Grandstand AFL. You're with Adam White.
Grundy and Hampson in the ruck. Hampson wins it down, but it will be a Collingwood ball. Crisp. His handball missed Ramsey, who was able to get the handball out, and away go Collingwood down the members' side. There's a free kick, advantage paid Collingwood's way. Pendlebury takes the possession of the football. Kicks in short to Blair, who marks on the members' wing. He's got Grundy if he wanted to go with a short pass. Instead, he goes deeper. It's a good kick inside the 50. Asprey with a good spoil away from goal. The ball's still inside 50 for the Magpies in the pocket. Cochin gets there, collects, handballs to Grimes, gets tackled by DeGoey, so has to force it back to Cochin, who's kicked it out of bounds on the full. So it'll be a free kick to Collingwood inside 50.
Whitey, the work of Cloak without the ball then was super. So there's an attitudinal thing. Caused the first turnover, caused the first out. Was a fantastic individual input.
So Jared Blair will be the man to take the free kick for the out of bounds on the full, and he will be 40 metres out in the left forward pocket to the punt road end. He had a look at some options inside, but it now looks like he's going to take the deliberate shot at goal. In he comes. Inside the field of play, the kick will go across the face and fall a little bit short. Hampson with a double-fisted spoil tried to get it through for a rush behind, but he missed. It's out of bounds. The umpire says throw it in.
It's a rubbish kick, that. You're not putting it out away from goal enough.
Grundy playing from behind. Hampson wins the tap. Put it down underfoot. Menadou with the kick out of the back pocket, which gains territorial reprieve for the Tigers. It pitched it half back. There it's been gathered for the Pies by Oxley, who shared it to Ramsey and got it back, and he's kicked the full forward where Moore had a good play, left it behind. Blair had a kick, it was smothered by Floston. The Tigers are scrambling their defence at it, and Treloar is working hard against them. Blair stays in the play, but it lands with Hooley, who kicks around the boundary, gains some good territory. It was touched off the boot. It'll be thrown in 55 away from the Collingwood goal.
Well, there's an attitude already, the way they're holding it in, Collingwood. It's been ground ball after ground ball and not a Richmond easy out so far.
Southern side of the ground, the ball gets thrown in. Grundy won it to the front, wanted Treloar, worried out of it. Hawley slaps it straight to Grundy of the Magpies, who handballs it on to Crisp, who handballs it straight to Grigg of Richmond, to Cochin, who has a fumble. It goes back out of bounds, still right half forward for Collingwood.
Fantastic pressure by both sides. There's no easy ball out there at all at the moment.
And the match-up, as we suggested, Cloak with Rance all the way.
Does look like Cochin and Treloar at the moment. Flat throw in, favoured Hampson, tapped it straight into the congestion. There's a free kick going Collingwood's way, I fancy, to Grundy, who was knocked out of the contest. So he's got the free kick for Collingwood, 75 from goal. He goes into the pocket for Solo coming out, but getting back nicely for Richmond is Townsend, who takes the mark for the Tigers.
It's a 50-metre penalty. So they'll get out of deep defence, having been pinned in a corner for quite some time. Across half back. It's an interesting sort of handball from Townsend to Cochin, who drifted around the back. He brings it out to the side for Rance, who kicks up to the wing. That's a good lead from Asprey. He wants to get it on. Cochin's out the back of him again, so he receives the hand pass, dinks it forward of the play. McIntosh has it, kicks inside 50, and they've got a loose in Lloyd against the boundary. 45 out from goal. He was an influential figure up forward last week, Lloyd. He's going to lay this off into the hot spot. He's done it expertly. Kane Lambert, who kicked the first last week, is going to have a shot at goal.
He's a smart player, Lloyd, isn't he? We saw him last week. Certainly almost single-handedly changed it. Get the Tigers over the line.
Well, it was a difficult option. He waited for it. It came square across him the ground, and he had to be an exceptionally good kick. Found him. Great stuff.
Lambert left quite the impression last week, and he'll start off in the same vein as he dobs the goal from 30 metres out. And it's Richmond who scores first. It took 4 minutes.
Yes, it seemed that the power and ferocity dissipated fairly quickly. On the back of that 50, it was a real release valve for Richmond, wasn't it? Don't talk about 50s, they don't count all that much, but there's a time where they couldn't get it out. It's given out by foolishness, selfishness, stupidity by one of the Richmond players, and they get easy access to the front half and score. That's not a good sign.
So 3 inside 50s to Collingwood, 1 to Richmond. It's the Tigers by a goal. Cochin on the bench already, 4 disposals for the Tigers. 5 minutes played, back in the middle. This bounce will favour Hampson, who taps it down to Grigg, gives out a handball to Miles on his left for Richmond, kicks towards half forward, but there's a free kick. It's coming back to Richmond, and it'll be to Grigg in the middle of the MCG. No advantage paid. That long kick coming into a contest from Miles. So Grigg will spread it out to the southern side. He finds Hooley, who marks on the wing, on his chest. He gets away from Cloak comfortably and then will penetrate with a long kick inside the 50. Juggling, attempted mark. No mark to Griffiths. Off the pack, it's a Collingwood footy. Treloar comes out and kicks it straight on the chest of Asprey.
It's a nifty little sidestep from Asprey to chip in the way. And he lays it off to Floston, who's at centre half forward, inside the 50, not a bad kick, didn't quite reach the target. Pendlebury comes through and he swoops on the spoil that was made by Oxley. Onto it then goes Crisp. He hand passed in a hurry. Richmond harrying is excellent, but Martin's given away a free kick, or Floston in the back play gave away a free kick, and Greenwood has it for the Pies.
Spreads it to Marley Williams, still in defensive 50. Williams on his customary left foot. Oh, he's kicked that straight to McIntosh of Richmond. So another turnover. McIntosh into the middle. He'll turn it over. DeGoey came in. Dropped the mark though. Martin picked it up. Shrugged the tackle. Handball to Miles. To McIntosh. Back to Martin. Iffy handball into the middle to a contest. Blair should get there first for Collingwood. Tumbles out a handball to Sinclair. Got dispossessed. Moore goes in. So too does Pendlebury. And he gets away and gives the handball to Treloar.
Treloar gives it back to Pendlebury, who sweeps the hand pass out to his left. Langdon steps back inboard. He probably needs support and has to give it to Pendlebury for the third time. He dinks it forward to Treloar. So the same 3 carried it about 50 metres. They lost their way in terms of movement down the field. Treloar kicks into the pocket. Good strong mark by McIntosh, who planted himself in front of Cloak. Knew there would be contact. Clunked the footy.
He's in the back pocket. He goes laterally into the corridor to Hooley. 20 metres out from Collingwood's goal. A short ball to Townsend, who marks it centre half back. Thought about handballing back to Hawley, but instead goes long out to the southern side of the ground. Not sure on the kick. Lloyd couldn't get there on the full. Now they fight for on the logo on the southern side. Comes up Collingwood's way. Sinclair, a handball to Nathan Brown. A wide handball to DeGoey. Forward to the southern wing now. DeGoey kicks up towards full forward. Cloak is there. Rance with the spoil at the drop. It's Greenwood who gets absolutely poleaxed in a tackle at the 50. And the umpire will say free kick to Greenwood, taken high, and I reckon that was once he hit the ground. Greenwood himself was a little bit surprised he got the free kick. He looked up and said, "What, me?" Okay. He'll take it 51 from goal. He's going short. Oh, terrible kick straight to Ellis of Richmond. Brandon Ellis.
He'll play the southern side on the lucky turnover. Griffiths makes good ground for him at half-back. He'll wedge it up the line. Gains 30 metres or so, hoping for Lambert. Spoil was made in the steal by Sinclair. Collingwood a chance to bring it back. Pendlebury kicks beyond halfway to Treloar, who slips the hand pass to Greenwood. Onto the left boot, he's kicked for full forward. Moore flies, knocked away from him. The crumble was for Solo, he overran it. Asprey in defence, gave it to McIntosh, mucked it up, now has to try to win it back. For Solo's all over him, literally. The umpire will come in and ball it up 20 metres out.
Collingwood needs some reward here. They're fighting desperately hard to keep the ball in their forward 50.
6 inside 50s for the Magpies. No score. Thrown up quickly. One down by Hampson. DeGoey tried to go over his head for Collingwood. Went straight up and down. No 15. McIntosh grabbed it. Played on. Handball to Hooley. They've still got it, Richmond, and they're going to get out. Asprey for the Tigers will be the one with the clearing kick. Out to the members' wing. Lloyd has 2 to beat. Couldn't do so, but it went through Reed's hands. Nathan Brown came late. So did Frost. So the 3 tall defenders all working together for Collingwood. They get it out to the wing. On the bounce to Langdon. He'll shape a kick well. Treloar should mark and should run on.
Tiger fans booing Treloar. He kicks to the 50. He's done it well. Blair takes it full-chested. 50 from goal. He wants to get it on to Moore, who leads up. Can't take the mark. He chases after it. He's beaten to it by Grigg, and he lays the tackle. Stops him in his tracks.
That's
there. It'll be balled up.
Sorry, Drew, that's good to see. Moore Terrific attempt to mark, followed up immediately on the ground, tackled and held it in for a big bloke. That's fantastic athleticism.
It has been played in perpetual motion for the first 10 minutes. Richmond a goal. There's a blood rule. So a pause, Lindsay Gilbey.
Yeah, it's Nick Vlostone in that heavy contact out there with Levi Greenwood, so it's a little bit of blood from the nose.
Thrown up 40 from the Collingwood goal. Kicked away from there by Brandon Ellis. A bouncing ball out to half-back, which turns and stays in the field of play. Ben Reid is onto it. He's a welcome sight on return. Hand pass forward to Taylor Adams. Gives it off to Williams. Kicks up to the teeth of goal for the Pies. Moore went one-handed. He brought it to ground. But McIntosh is tidying up for the Tigers. He put it through Brandon Ellis and on to Hooley.
Hooley he's just kicked to space, but it's going to be a Collingwood footy. Oxley will get there first. Pendlebury could have picked it up as well. Oxley into the 50. Great defensive work by Hooley to fist it away, which seemed a certain mark and find the boundary 45 out from Collingwood's goal. Lindsay.
As you mentioned there, Whitey, Hooley kicking the ball straight to space because Richmond's forwards are pushing right up the ground. The time they looked dangerous when they scored on that first play is when Richmond had 6 forwards forward of the footy.
9 inside 50s to Collingwood, no score. From the throw-in, Grigg picks it off the turf for Richmond, kicks back towards the southern wing. Reid, did he use his hands? He did, he marking that footy. So it'll be a Richmond ball again to Hampson.
Hampson lays it off to the side. Brandon Ellis has run up from half-back. He kicks them long in the Revolt direction. Frost comes late. Revolt can't hang on to the mark. Sinclair at the drop is barged out of play by Jack. And will be 40 metres out from the Richmond goal at the throw-in. Only their 4th venture inside 50. Richmond has the only goal. At the throw-in, Griffiths a tap. Williams, though, in defence for the Pies. Off to Treloar, who shoots it around with Oxley. Off to Sinclair and Pendlebury, and now the run comes. Ramsey breaking the lines. He kicks it for Cloak. Up in centre field as he takes the mark in front of Rance. They've got an open forward line. Fasolo's a good target. The kick is for the square. Fasolo runs onto it, gets the boot there and kicks the goal. And that is reward for a mountain of effort from the Pies early. They square it off at a goal apiece after 12 minutes.
Oh, terrific entry for them. Yep. And they've struggled to get it in clean. Cloak was on the bike, strongly out of the square. He's probably got 35 or 40 metres with Rance trying to run him down but didn't make up the ground. Cloak took it as I think he's got to play. That's exactly what Cloak should do. Turn round and his kick went over the top. And the lad, what's his name for
Fasolo.
Fasolo, the fabulous Fasolo. He just kicked it off the ground. The fish was running in the right direction. A very telling method to get the result, but after so many times in, it's good to see they get a score.
Yeah, their 10th entry, getting their first goal. In the middle again, Hampson winning the tap for the Tigers. It'll be a Collingwood football though. They've got so many players across half-back. Pendlebury, maybe one too many handballs in the end. And as a result, it come up Richmond's ball with Lloyd, giving a handball to Brandon Ellis. Long kick inside the 50. Collingwood have got the numbers back here. Last line of defence, it'll be Frost, who gets the handball away to Ramsey, who goes down the line. Now they can settle things with Oxley at right half-back. He'll chip it over the top to Pendlebury. He'll take the mark just inside the field of play and kick on to MacArthur.
MacArthur at right half-back. He takes a moment to assess, and the umpire has called him to play on. He kicks it up to halfway where Cloak is in front. Grimes almost outmarked him. He was able to winkle it away and get it out of play.
It's 10-5 inside 50s in Collingwood's favour. Certainly, they only had that one clean transition of play where they've scored the goal. It's been very scrappy otherwise for them.
Thrown in. Griffiths to the back. Taylor Hunt goes to ground. Went without it. Griffiths fights on. Hunt stays as an ally to him. Hand passes it into the congestion. Breaking through was Lambert to get it some sort of kick away. Frost stood against it. Knocked it down. Kamikaze stuff from Townsend, and he's given away a free kick as a result. He went in all helter-skelter, and it had to be Ramsey's free kick.
Scott Pendlebury up to 10 disposals already in 14 minutes. So the ball with Jackson Ramsey. He's going to go backwards to Reid inside defensive 50, and he'll transfer play to the members' side where Marley Williams takes the mark. Plays on. Hampson will come at him late. He reckons he's got the speed to get away, and he does. And then chips it short to Jack Crisp, who marks defensive members wing. Inboard kick, don't like it. Oh, Adams made it okay, stretching as Asprey came late. Dead set centre wing members side. Up to 15 minutes in the opening term. It's a goal apiece. The kick down to Langdon, who floated from half back to mark about 70 from goal. He's usually a good kick. This one goes to full forward, just over Cloak's head. Brandon Ellis scampering back. Oxley with the tackle. Was it in the back? It was. It will be a free kick to Richmond in the back pocket.
They had good targets deep forward then, Collingwood. Langdon's kick not on the money. Brandon Ellis out of the back pockets. He's got the long option. There wasn't much else to look at. And Townsend did manage to complete that mark. He seemed to get a fist to it initially and mark it on the ground. He kicks it forward. Hospital ball. Picked off by Reid, who thumps Collingwood back inside 50 and going back hard as Cloak. He's taken the mark. All been punched in the back of the head by Rance. Take your pick. Rance made him earn it. But Cloak gets the shot at goal.
You called it early, Parker. Cloak's been in the game early. The pressure and the tackling just gets you involved, get some body contact. And we saw that the strong lead-up mark before and then pumping it long for Solo, run onto and kick goal. It's good signs for him.
Oh, and I can't believe that they wouldn't want to kick it to him.
It has long been true that Cloak sets a tone early from 45. He blasts it near side. And it is a behind. It separates the two teams. 1-1-7 Collingwood, one straight Richmond after 16 minutes.
That one never looked a chance. Hooking quite badly early in flight. Short kicking to Hawley as the Tigers come down the members' side. Long kick to a contest. Sinclair nearly with the juggling mark, but in the pack there's going to be a Richmond free kick. It's going to go to Tyrone Vickery. And the fluorescent green boots. Defensive side of the members' wing. They'll go very short to Grigg, not 15, near the interchange gates. This is a long ball, but not a very well-directed kick. Reid dropped the mark for the Magpies, and it looked like he was going to take it. Handball stolen there by Lambert, coming through Townsend. Handball to Lloyd. He's 40 from goal. He jams it on his boot cleverly to Cochin, going back with the flight. And Cochin has marked 25 out from goal directly in front.
Well, it was a very good kick in the finish to space, but he should have given the third. He was free for the handball initially. Didn't give it, but found him with the foot later on.
Great chain of hands there. But that passage of play came from the Richmond player running back for flight to spoil the mark. I can't recall who that player was, but bring that ball to ground there in their forward half just gives them a chance. Good chain of handballs, ends up in Cochin's hands.
He's taking his time, Trent Cochin. In he comes off 2 steps, rushed the set shot and missed to the right. That was very strange.
It really was 2 steps.
2 steps from when he started coming in.
The shot clock got him.
I wonder whether it did.
It did. I'm telling you. He looked up and saw that it was at 1 and rushed things from there. Williams left the square, got some extra yardage up into the centre square. Onto it goes Greenwood for Collingwood to try to win it out. Not a bad effort. Crisp is fighting to make it even better. He feeds a hand pass out the back to Adams, who fumbled and it's lost. Hooley put it through Townsend, off to Miles, kicked the full forward. Vickery comes out, got hands to it, couldn't hang on. Marley Williams on the last line gives it to Pendlebury, and he clears for Collingwood out the far side. Oxley takes the mark. He works it out to half back for De Goey. He'll cross halfway and get it to Cloak, who had 2 against him, but he controlled the drop zone.
He's wanting to move it quickly because McCaffrey was alone at half forward. Didn't see him in the end, or didn't kick to him. He kicked more centrally. Moore came over the pack, got a handball out to Treloar. His handball was poor. Richmond have the football as they come out the members' side. Brandon Ellis waited for it to bounce, took possession of it, absorbed 1 tackle, broke a second, kicked to the members' wing. Lloyd gets there on the bounce. Ramsey with the tackle. He shrugs the tackle and then kicks on. Taylor Hunt takes the mark, nearly at half forward the Tigers. Hunt eyes darting one way, then the other, then kicks on, and Townsend will mark just outside the 50 for Richmond. Right half forward, he's near the boundary, about 55 from goal. He's kicked towards Revolt, doesn't have enough on it, and Ben Reid takes another intercept mark for Collingwood.
He's going out across the face of goal. The kick had to be precise, and it was, and it's marked by Oxley in the right back pockets. He's got a particularly short target in Adams. Adams hemmed in on the boundary. Oxley's gone and run 25 metres ahead of the play to get it back. Under the southern stand. Still short of half-back, though. It'll be long down the line to a contest. Cloak leaps. Rance makes the spoil. Asprey does the crumbing. It's picked off by Treloar, though. Gives it to Crisp. Stands in the tackle. Had to get it back to Treloar. He feeds it to Adams, who kicks a wonky old ball up to half forward. He was flattened as he kicked it, though. And it is going to be a down-the-ground free kick to Collingwood. Who are they going to give it to here? Greenwood or Aish to raffle it? Greenwood will take it. Up at right half forward. 2 kicks out from goal. He puts it onto the left boot. It's going to land near the square. Moore's got 4 to fly against. He brings it to ground and does the crumbing. Hand pass to Cloak, who had a fumble, and it's whisked away by Dustin Martin.
He did well. He got a handball out to Miles, who waited for it to bounce, went back to Martin, went behind Martin, and Collingwood come up with the ball. McCaffer back into the 50. Moore! Good mark to Darcy Moore as he jumped into Rance, propelled himself into the air and took the mark.
I like the way he just gave Rance a bit of a shove as he walked past him with the ball through, just letting him know, I stepped on your shoulders, mate.
It's a very convincing mark.
It was.
Very convincing.
He called it earlier again in the play beforehand. He contested the ball. He was the first one to land on his feet, run through the line of the ball and follow up and give him a handball.
Just right of centre. 30 from goal. Darcy Moore with a convincing mark and a convincing finish. Collingwood's in front. 21 played opening term. The Magpies 2-1-13. The Tigers 1-1-7.
Well, it's we can't classify it as despite the scores being 13-7 halfway through the first quarter. It's not a rumble in the jungle. It's not that kind of contest. There's a fair bit of pressure on, and there's been a huge number of errors. I've been have a look at the disposal efficiency at the moment, but that's on the back of a fair bit of pressure from both sides when they don't have the ball. But good to see an athletic tall bloke, isn't it? I mean, there's a place for those in the game. You can't go in with 3 blokes. You can only catch and can't do any work on the way out on ground. Moore has that athleticism to do it, and Cloak's been almost up with him in attempting to do it.
2-1 to 1-1. Collingwood lead heading towards time on of the first term. Blair tries to win the clearance in the middle. Martin stops it in its tracks. He spins his way clear. He gives it off to Grigg, who shoots it around with Hampson. Off to Revolt, kicks inside 50, but Brown is camped and waiting for it. So another ill-directed entry from the Tigers. Nathan Brown brings it out to his left for Pendlebury. Clear of the defensive 50. Around the boundary to Fasolo.
Possession 12 for Pendlebury there.
In front of the members, Fasolo twirling the footy. Let a few options go by. Kicked long in the Grundy direction. He's wrestled Asprey, and that's terrific stuff from Asprey. He got his arms clear and off balance, pulled the mark in. It's a good kick on the 45 too to Revolt on the logo. Hand pass out the back to Cochin. He'll kick up inside the 50. Short is on offer, and he plays tall as he leaps up and takes the mark in front of Pendlebury. Jaden Short on debut tonight.
First step, I think, first time with the ball.
It is?
Yes, first time. Can be one of those unique players who kicks a goal with his first kick in AFL.
Did you practice that all week, Jerry?
He's a Bandura boy. Jaden Short. Is he long enough with the kick? Oh, it's a raking ball from 50 into the third row and straight through the middle. Welcome to senior footy, Jaden Short. That leaves an impression. 2-1-13 apiece after 23 and a half minutes. Lindsay Gilby.
Yeah, as Sully just mentioned, Pendlebury's at it 12 times, playing as virtually an extra midfielder in Collingwood's back end. But on that occasion, Shaw played it really smart, which he has to because Pendlebury's such a good player. So he has to make him defend, especially when Richmond are going forward because, as we know, Pendlebury's a very good player, and if he runs into an area where he's not going to get the ball, he'll just drop off and intercept.
Talked about Pendlebury with plenty of the footy, 12 disposals. Adam Treloar has got 9 as well. From the middle, Hampson wins the tap down, but De Goey bounces off a tackle and kicks the ball towards centre half forward, but it's all Richmond. Rance takes the mark, gives the handball to McIntosh. He goes out wide to Taylor Hunt, who marks in front of Oxley at left half back. Short ball, inboard to Vlostone, just 15. Umpire says that's good enough. And Vlostone kicks to the middle and Revolt marks. Now he's got a loose. Out on the half-forward flank, it's Menadue. He should mark about 60 from goal. He wants to play on. He's now 60 out with an inboard pass to Hampson. And that's good enough. Hampson's marked at 40 from goal, right of centre.
Really clever play by Menadue, just feigning to roll onto his right and then cutting back inside. Just opens up the entire forward 50 to a sharp little dinky kick to find Hampson.
If it wasn't Hampson, Vickery would have taken the mark.
There were three on the in the better position to catch it before a Collingwood player was in sight.
And I reckon Richmond would prefer to have it in Vickery's hands rather than Hampson's.
It's a long way from the hand to the foot, isn't it?
Scores a level at the moment. Hampson has a chance to put Richmond in front. He will by 1 point. Missing to the right-hand side. Richmond 2-2-14. Collingwood 2-1-13. 25 played opening quarter.
David Parkin and Brad Sewell on duty tonight on Grandstand AFL. Marley Williams has the footy. He's going long with the kick. He'll thump it up to centre half back. Grundy flies against Hampson, tried to knock it to the back. Greenwood came through, took possession. Off to Blair as the Magpies look to link it up. He used Crisp up to Grundy, tried to knock it on. There was nobody at his feet though. Floston on the intercept. Gives it off to Grigg. Kicks up to the 50. No. He picked out Ramsey. And the Pies get a reprieve. Richmond's entries have been really poor. Kick out to the wing for Cloak, who thumps it forward. McCaffer sets himself against Asprey. Gok might have been the crummer at the back. Grimes beat him to it. Off the last line, his clearing kick is out in front of Hooley.
Yeah, he has to go off the ground, Hooley. I don't like that at all. Treloar intercepts, handballs it on to Greenwood. He'll handball it on. There's a chance here with the goalie who goes back to Greenwood and misses Greenwood, and the ball goes out of play for a throw-in.
Oh, both ordinary choices to go and terrible hand passes which followed the bad decision.
Has been Richmond's defence down there so solid, or just Collingwood's forwards have been sloppy?
All over the place.
The throw in, 25 around from Collingwood's goal in their left forward pocket. Grundy in the ruck, jumps high, wins it down, but Brandon Ellis Sharks for Richmond. Kicking a long ball back towards the members' wing. Nathan Brown will get there first for Collingwood on the bounce. Handball to Frost, not long until quarter time. Frost with a handball to Williams. Just a dinky kick over the top to Pendlebury, not 15. So forced to immediately handball defensively to Nathan Brown, who gets his kick partially smothered. And that was good work by Menadue again. It's ricocheted out of play for a throw-in on the members' wing.
Need something really sharp to create a score either way from the wing. At the throw-in, Hampson palmed it down. Cochin's after it. Blair disputed him. Grundy tackled him, and that gets us to quarter time. There's a point in it. Richmond lead. 2-2-14 to Collingwood 2-1-13. In a quarter that reached few heights. For Solo and Moore, the goal kickers for the Pies. Lambert and Short for the Tigers. Richmond by 1 point at quarter time. This is Grandstand AFL on ABC Local Radio, News Radio and Grandstand Digital.
You got the whole world in your hand.
ABC News Digital, giving you access to news from here at home and around the globe.
You got the whole world.
When news breaks, the ABC puts the biggest stories in your hands when you want them. All from Australia's most trusted source, abc.net.au/news.
The whole world in your hands.
Grandstand AFL.
You're with Grandstand.
He was an influential figure up forward last week, Lloyd. He's going to lay this off into the hot spot. He's done it expertly. Lambert left quite the impression last week, and he'll start off in the same vein as he dobs the goal from 30 metres out. Ramsey breaking the lines. He kicks it for Cloak. Up in centre field as he takes the mark in front of Brands. They've got an open forward line for Solo's a good target. The kick is for the square. For Solo runs onto it, gets the boot there and kicks the goal. And that is reward for a mountain of effort from the Pies early.
Got a handball out to Miles, who waited for it to bounce, went back to Martin, went behind Martin, and Collingwood come up with the ball. McCaffer back into the 50. Moore! Good mark to Darcy Moore. 30 from goal. Darcy Moore with a convincing mark and a convincing finish. Collingwood's in front.
And pass out the back to Cochin. He'll kick up inside the 50. Short is on offer, and he plays tall as he leaps up and takes the mark in front of Pendlebury. Is he long enough with the kick? Oh, it's a raking ball from 50 into the third row and straight through the middle. Welcome to senior footy, Jaden Short.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Local Radio and on digital radio ABC Grandstand.
The long and the short of the opening term. Richmond by 1 point over Collingwood. In other scores tonight, the NRL, it's early. The Broncos leading the Titans 4-0. That's after 13 minutes. And in the Super Rugby, the Highlanders 32 beat the Force 20. David Parkin and Brad Saul.
Can I lead off by saying that there are probably three elements which are significant in terms of where Collingwood find itself now and where they were unable to impact last week. Pendlebury and Treloar look like they're in a very, very good combination. That's not taking anything away from McIntosh and Townsend. They've been very good for Richmond. To see Cloak working and presenting in the manner he has, taken a couple of strong marks, looks interested with and without the ball, has worked extremely hard, as we know he has a big tank to do. That's been terrific. But it's at the other end, the combo, and they've wanted this to happen for some time, the Brown and Reid combo in the back half for Collingwood. Brown by himself, I think, has limitations. He's a body and strong and vigorous contester, but the other bloke, Reid, brings a real talent. Reads the play extremely well. He's good overhead. He's pretty good round his feet for his size and picks good options.
Good decision maker.
Good decision maker. So that combination's making them look better in the back half. I think they've got a midfield that's starting to work pretty effectively. They turned the ball over a few times with their feet. And in the front half, two very different players, both Cloak and
Moore.
Yeah, both Cloak and Moore are a combination that I think can work differently. Both are very, very different players, but both have the attitudes, and so pleased to see them both presenting and continuing on their good work, although not in possession of the ball. That's been a bit of an eye-opener for me tonight, to see a kid that works so hard as a young athlete playing the game. So, look,
he really does.
It's not, as I suggested, the rumble, is it?
No, not at all. It hasn't been an exciting game.
No.
It hasn't been a spectacle whatsoever. It's been very scrappy out there. Pressure for both sides has been good. Collingwood in particular, they managed to lock the ball in their forward 50 for quite some time. I don't know what the stat is in terms of time spent in the forward 50, but for the first, I think they had the first six inside 50s there, and they managed to lock it in. Lindsay.
Just a little bit of news down here for the Richmond Tigers. Dylan Grimes went off with a little bit of a hamstring twinge. He's just rejoined the group, but I'll keep an eye on him because he has had a history. He's had both hamstrings operated on before, so I'm sure Richmond will be cautious with him going forward.
Well, that makes things interesting down there, doesn't it, Parker?
It does, and he's very important. Did some terrific things early. The tackle counts what's incredible. I know an old-fashioned defensive coaching player, but the combination of the two of them is in a game which meant so much that we thought the physical pressure would be on. So far, Collingwood have laid 6 tackles and Richmond slightly better at 10. Now, 10 a game will give you 10 per quarter, give you 40, which is half of what you want. 6 per game will give you whatever it is, 24. Means you can't win, in my humble opinion. So they've got to lift their work rate when they don't have the ball.
No, there's nothing humble about your opinion, Parko.
It is an issue, though, for Collingwood that they've only had 6 tackles, and even from a contested possession point of view, I guess they're 6 in front there, but
isn't it? It's too often a clear indication of your work rate.
But it was a focus during the week. Tackles.
It just means the ball's pinging around too much. They need to, even though Collingwood sort of locked it in their forward 50, sort of bumbled around a little bit. They didn't have any didn't have too many secondary stoppages. It spills out all the time, and you can see Richmond at times manage to link up and handball right through the middle of the ground out to their defensive 50.
Pendlebury's had 13, Treloar 10, Crisp 9 for Collingwood, McIntosh 9 for Richmond, Townsend and Brandon Ellis 8.
Collingwood to the city end in the second term. Richmond by a point. Pendlebury starts the quarter on the bench. Grundy and Hampson after the bounce. Hampson wins the tap, but there's shepherding. And it's Grundy's free kick. Grundy Slings it out the back to Sinclair, who drops it onto the right boot and drives the Pies inside the 50. More flew, broke through his hands. Galt is after it. Julio beat him to it. Hand pass to Cochin off the last line. He works it around with Flostone. Into the back pocket it comes now. That is Corey Ellis, whose kick is a good one. And it finds Menadou at left half back. Just a couple of steps in from the boundary. He goes for distance and for Lloyd. Frost is the taller man. He made the spoil. Crisp has the play at the drop, although he's dispossessed by Martin. Coming through hard was Ramsey. It ends up disputed. The umpire comes in to ball it up on the members' wing.
Richmond by a point. As the ball gets thrown up quickly, Cochin third man up, taps it down to Grigg. Handball out to Lloyd. As he was tackled, got a handball away, but straight to Adams of Collingwood, to Langdon. He's dispossessed. Martin comes up with it. Good inboard handball to Hampson. Has to be quick, and it was to Menadou. Handballs it on, and here they go. Corey Ellis with a handball to Dustin Martin. To the front left corner of the square to Revolt. Not 15. Kicks quickly. Doesn't just kick quickly. Kicks well over. The mark was dropped by Lambert at the top of the square. Look, for all money he was going to mark that. He didn't. It's locked up. It'll be thrown up at the top of the punt road goal square.
Creative play there by Dustin Martin, just to hold onto the ball. The Collingwood players just stood off him there for a little bit longer, allowed him to make that smart handball decision.
Ball gets thrown up. Hampson taps it down cleverly. The handball comes from Lambert. Across now to Cochin. Flying shot at goal. It's missed to the right. Only a behind. Richmond's lead 2 points. 2-3 to 2-1. Cochin with 2 behinds.
And the good point about that is Martin's not known for his multiple efforts. He's there and does it up, then fades away. He followed up that time, and the end product was his good work.
Yep.
Williams is on the kick in. Again, he will go long. The front line of the centre square. Hampson got all over Grundy and gives away the free kick. Ball was clearing them, so it was an unnecessary error. Grundy goes bouncing away. He's got Ramsey going shotgun. Gives the hand pass there. Grundy floors Floston, and he's knocked off for the high contact in the Shepherd.
And not by the umpire in charge, but the umpire back in the rear 50. I'm not so sure about that. So sure about it. Significant event, though. They're going in for an opportunity. It's reversed it.
Flostone high ball. Revolt's going to have 4 coming towards him. Ben Reid made the spoil out boundary side and rolls over the line.
Do we get a bit excited about the footy we saw in the first leg, Jared? Based on what we've seen to this point?
Revolt's a bit ginger after that last contest.
Really saw a huge leap.
Left forward pocket for the Tigers. Ball thrown in, almost hits Grundy in the face. Hampson comes up with it, was tackled, lost it. Lloyd jumps on the footy. It'll be thrown up. This was blown quickly then.
Competence than congestion, though, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, that's correct.
It's hard to legislate against the competence.
That's right. From the throw up, Lloyd has it for Richmond. He's dispossessed. Crisp comes through. He was tackled as he kicked it. Revolt took it on the bounce for Richmond. Centres it up. Did well. Hits Lambert on the chest. 45 from goal, left of centre.
Last week, Revolt would have swung around and have a ping at goal himself then, but at least he's actually looked inside and found that central target.
And he's struggling too at the moment. That tumble off the top of Everest has hurt him.
It's the right side he's continuing to feel for.
Yep.
Kane Lambert kicked a goal in the first quarter. Strikes it very well, but then it just gets away from him left and hooks through for a behind. The contact looked pretty good off the boot. 2-4-16 Richmond, 2-1-13 Collingwood, 4 played second quarter.
He's a strong kick, isn't he? He's a really powerful through the hips,
Marley Williams kicks this one wider, but still with the same penetration, and Ben Reid was well placed to take the mark. Comes across the 50-metre arc. He actually gains good yardage to Treloar, who hit it at full pace, and he drives to Galt inside 50. He got hands to it. He's dragged down without it. Galt, he initially shaked to get it off. The umpire gives him the reprieve and lets him go back.
Come on, Sunday, just settle down, have a shot.
He doesn't have 50 in his leg, so he's going to set it up to the top of the square. Cloak comes out, knocked away by Hampson. Hooley does the tidying up off to Miles, who's in the tackle. He did work it away, though. Ellis and Ellis, both of them involved. They work it out to Lambert, who kicks it off half-back for Vickery.
Vickery between wing and half-back. He's taking his time before he works out what he's going to do, and then he kicks to Flostone, who marks at the top of defensive 50.
He's taking his time there because all the Richmond forwards pushed up so high into the defence.
Oh, they've got one out here, though. Griggs marked it forward of midfield in the centre square, and then will kick to Revolt, who marks 40 from goal.
So really good composure there by Richmond. Their forwards all pushed up defensively, and then once they got that mark around the middle of the ground, they actually had to slow down, allowing their forwards to run past the person holding the ball to give them an option forward of the play.
Jack Revolt, his first shot at goal for the night. He's on about a 40-degree angle, left of centre, kicking to the punt road end, and will let fly from just inside the 50. Kick on its way. It's hanging a little right, and it hits the post. The right-hand goal post halfway up. Richmond 2-5-17. Collingwood 2-1-13. Is that Sean Hampson I'm seeing limping around in midfield? Keep an eye on him.
They've had the past 5 scoring shots. In fact, they've kicked 4 behinds in a row, the Tigers. So they are squandering their opportunities. Ramsey marks the kick in the back pocket. He kicks from outside the boundary. Grundy's his target. Flying in was Langdon to offer support. Neither of them won it. Hampson knocks it down to Rance, who gives it to Cochin. The Tigers bring it inboard. Miles is dispossessed by Sinclair. Neat little play. Off to Langdon. Now to Blair, who kicks up to the 50 where Cloak leads up. He's got this within him. He'll kick from 52 metres. He thought about the fast play into the square. He's going to take the responsibility. 45-degree angle to the right. No doubt about his work rate tonight, Travis Cloak. What about the kicking? He got a lot of it. He's pushed it out across the face. More flies behind the line. And it will register as a Cloak point. Richmond by 3 points.
He's second behind. Hooley marks the kick in, moves it on quickly, wanting Vickery, who stretches and marks and gives the quick release handball. And now Richmond away through Menadue, kicking towards half forward. Revolt, can he keep it in play on the bounce? He can. Reid tackles him though, and they both finish over the boundary line with the footy, so it'll be thrown in.
Cloak went back with confidence. At least he didn't. He took it in his hands and had a shot himself.
60 metres from Richmond's goal, left half forward. Hampson with the tap down. Grigg lost control of the footy and then almost knocked over a teammate. He did knock over a teammate, head-high contact, and it's called a free kick to Townsend. Am I seeing things there, or did 2 Richmond players run into each other and the free kick resulted? Townsend will just pop it up to the top of the square. Vickery with the fly, couldn't mark. Through the pack, short. Oh, he's just missed to the left. Front and centre. And another behind to the Tigers. 2-6-18. Collingwood 2-2-14. Am I seeing things, or did you see that, Jim?
I saw it the way you saw it. Rather unusual moment. Pendlebury is taking the kick in. His first disposal for the term, I fancy. After 8.5 minutes, he started it on the bench. He uses it short to Ben Reid. Reid kicks to centre half back. A searing ball with which crisp marks in front of his eyes, and he turns and gets it going quickly. He'll need a mark on the far side from Ace, who hasn't really been sighted yet as a new pie. Brandon Ellis pulls it away after the spoil was made, up to Lloyd, who missed his target with the hand pass. Oxley goes in to win it back for the Magpies. He's down in a fierce tackle. Crisp coming through to try to save it. He works it around with Ramsey, and off then to Treloar. High ball into the middle. Hooley coming one way, Grigg the other. Oh, they nearly ran into each other. Hooley takes the safe mark.
Steve Warren, Jason Gillespie sort of stuff there from the Tigers. Grigg on the members' wing now. Will go short to Menadue, who marks just inside the field of play, forward of the members' wing. 9 played, second quarter. It is Richmond by 4 points. Inboard kick to Miles. Miles will go back into the centre square to Rance. Rance will chip it on. Oh, missed Martin. Poor turnover. Adams comes up with a footy for Collingwood. Handball to Treloar. Can they punish here? No more, waited for it. And Rance did extremely well to butter up his error. Then scoops out a handball to McIntosh. Waited for it to bounce. Then feeds a handball to Brandon Ellis. He'll chip down to Hooley. Will leave it, and Dustin Martin marks it on the southern wing.
They look like 2 moderate conveyances at the moment. The kick up to the 50 wasn't much good. Sinclair got a boot in to disrupt the play. Treloar sends it away through Aish, who gives it to Oxley. Collingwood trying to build around the southern wing. Mark taken by Blair. He edges away and gets it onto his boot, out in front of Fasolo, who lets it bounce. It comes into his grasp. He's too far out to score. His work is good, though. And De Goey, working hard over the top, takes the mark very much within range.
Been very few clean passages of play, Parker. There's been no nice link-ups. It's all been hard work at the moment for both sides.
Yeah, I'm just watching a fascinating contest between Rance and Cloak, and Rance's ability to take the risk and leave him 50 metres behind.
Jordan De Goey, 40 metres out on the angle, no trouble at all. And for all of Richmond's attacking in this term, it's Collingwood that puts up the first goal, and they're back in front. 3-2-20 to Richmond, 2-6-18 after 11 minutes of the second.
Yeah, it's got real interest because I can't see where the influence to take the game in one direction, that is in one team compared with the other. I think they're about loaded equally, and it's just going to be some good usage under pressure.
And who's going to buckle first?
Well, I'm not sure.
Who's going to
I'm getting a bit more confident about what Collingwood's doing.
Yeah. Have Richmond got another gear from here? Well, they do, but
I'm not sure that they have.
In the middle, Hansen wins it down against Galt, but no one's going anywhere, so it'll be thrown up. One clear difference in the stats clearances, 13-5, Richmond's way. Revolt, third man up here, taps it down to Cochin, so they work that well, Richmond. Cochin around the body towards Griffiths at half forward. He get taken high in that marking contest, so he'll get a free kick. Too far out to score. He's going to go long. Very long. Lloyd up for Richmond. Couldn't mark. Langdon at the back had a bit of a fumble for Collingwood. It's near the goal square. Nathan Brown has a fumble. He goes again. So does Lloyd. They fight for it. It's right close to the boundary. Langdon has it. Vickery tackles him over the line for a throw-in deep in the left forward pocket.
So neither side are doing enough when there's pressure on, but the better sides in the competition get a better result in the close stuff, just not in the heavy traffic. They're just not making good
clean.
Not clean.
At the throw-in, Ramsey had first possession, didn't do anything with it. Townsend is tackled with the ball. He's over it. He had to release it and did, to the umpire's satisfaction. It skittles around and is eventually knocked out of play.
There's been a lot of simple errors, Parker. Handballs missed tackles, allowing stepping around the mark too easily. Those little things, good sides, you might see one or two of. You don't see chains of 3 or 4.
35 from the Richmond goal. Griffiths knocks it down, but Greenwood is there for Collingwood. He offers a reprieve with a bouncing ball to half-back. Asprey overran it. Should have been coming back for the Pies. Not to be for the moment. Blair is over the top of it. And the umpire rushes in to ball it up. Tossed up left half forward for Richmond. It's a clever little tap out the side by Townsend. Off to Miles, who gave it to Grigg, who had no space. It fell to Cochin, who kicks up to full forward. Vickery reaches over the top, can't take the mark. Lloyd trying to slip the tackle. He lost the footy in a hand pass. Reid, he got hit high. No whistle?
Yeah.
Yes, there was a whistle. And it'll be a Collingwood free kick in the back pockets.
And playing themselves at the moment without umpires to players until they've realised there is a free kick to Reid. Lindsay Gilbey spoke about Grimes at quarter time. I think he's done. I think he's got ice on that hamstring at the back of the dugout. Reid goes down the middle. It's a dangerous kick, and Blair couldn't get there on the full, and as a result it's a Richmond ball. Hooley kicks up to Lloyd, who'll mark at the 50 for Richmond. Probably too far out to score. He's getting put on his mark with the mark right on 50, and he's not going to go for goal. He's going to go cleverly to Grigg. I don't know how Collingwood didn't see Grigg all alone there, 30 from goal straight in front. But he found him.
Grigg's been important to Richmond. Allows a bit of extra flexibility through the midfield. He's sure ball handling, uses it well. He's had 11 possessions, 82% disposal efficiency, which is
pretty good, isn't it?
It is
a good high thing, and he really needs to finish this one off. This is a job that he should do.
They've missed so many in this term, Richmond. This to put Richmond back in front. No, he's missed as well. A very hesitant shot at goal. And Richmond, 2 goals, 7, 19. That's 5 behinds for the term. Collingwood 3-2-20 after 15 minutes of the second.
Williams the favoured way as far as he can. Out to the left. It's marked by Sinclair, who is protected in by Reed. Dinks it up the line. Adams offers. Out at half back. Nothing obvious to go to, so it's long to a contest. Grundy leaps, Rance over the top. It cleared the pair. It bounces out of play at right half forward for Collingwood.
It's funny, this scrappy kind of play is contagious. You normally put Grigg down to kick that goal, but because it's been so fumbling and error-riddled...
we weren't surprised when
it sort of rubs off on everyone.
Collingwood by a point. Grundy with the tap, trying to get it to Greenwood, who missed it. He tackles Revolt, but Revolt was able to release it near Martin. It fell out of his hands. The same for Griffiths. They did eventually conspire to bring it away. Martin's running the ball at half-back. Gives it to Cochin, back over the top to Martin. It didn't find him, and now he's under pressure. He's got to fend off, though, to get away from Fasolo. He's running loops and laps. They gave him the bell. He got it off to McIntosh. Kicked it up beyond halfway to Miles. Cochin wanted it ghosting past. That's how he's got most of his possession so far tonight. The kick instead goes up to the 50, and Brandon Ellis marks at 55 from goal. Hampson is deep. Lloyd, Vickery leads out into the pocket to open up some space. The kick is going for Hampson. He doesn't take the mark. Frost made the spoil. Langdon on the tidy up in the back pocket. Grigg with a nice smother. Forces the turnover. Vickery stood in 2 tackles. He's dispossessed. It should have been holding the ball. It won't matter. It's run away by Ramsey.
Who clears out to Fasolo now. They should go from one end of the ground to the other here. Fasolo up to Moore. Galt's the next in the line, or DeGoey. He's seen Galt. Moore has to kick it at least 50 metres. Galt sits under it. Can't mark. Asprey did well. But then, they stumbled. They fumbled. And then Galt kicked off the ground straight to Richmond. And the Tigers will dodge a big bullet, with Revolt marking the outlet kick coming from Corey Ellis at half-back.
Oh, they're terrible, Waddy. They're terrible.
Revolt really concentrating on doing this tonight. Revolt's gone backwards to McIntosh, and it's 50 for being in the protected area.
In your call before there where Grigg smothered the ball, what actually happened is the boot of the Collingwood player kicked him in the calf. He hasn't moved really from his spot down there at all yet. He's really quite sore on the hands of the trainers.
McIntosh has gone wide to Asprey, who had to wait for it to bounce, and then kicks to Brandon Ellis. He's almost at half forward, now into the pocket. Vickery stretches, and he's got it. 25 from goal. He doesn't want to take the shot either. He's looking for someone to kick it to.
Why didn't Reed was in the back there in the contest where he could, he had the height and the strength to actually defend that. He didn't even put his hands up. Just watch his mate get outmarked.
The second guessing is contagious. It just files through everyone.
Tyrone Vickery only a couple of metres in from the boundary in the right forward pocket to the punt road end. This is probably the hardest shot they've had so far in this term, and he's hit the post. So it's 2-8-20 Richmond, Collingwood 3-2-20. It's like we're doing the cryptic crossword. This is really hard. Lindsay Gilbey.
Just the difference, what I'm finding down at ground level, the difference between the two teams at the moment is their ball use. Whoever can break that first line of defence, be it Richmond, be it Collingwood, there's a lot of space out the back to get the ball.
Williams into the middle. It didn't come off. Hooley got hold of it, and DeGoey pushed him in the back. So Richmond with a chance to drive it back in. Hooley sets it up out wide. Out on the lead came Lloyd. He couldn't hang on to the mark. Langdon's after it for the post. He's hand passed it straight to Lloyd. Lloyd works it forward to Menadou, who rushes at it. Nowhere to go, really. Hand passed over the top to Cochin, who's got plenty of company. He ran into Blair. He released the footy. In the pocket, Townsend has a go. Vickery pushes in the back as he laid a tackle.
I think it's a throw.
Which way are we?
A backward scoop. Should be a Collingwood free kick.
Yes, so Vickery thinks it's his free kick.
Just in keeping with his quarter.
Vickery confused the umpire then by walking back.
I actually don't.
I'm with Vickery.
I don't understand what happened there. I hear what you're saying, but that's not what I saw.
Oh, no, it's not what I saw.
It's Pendlebury's free kick in the back pocket. He's going for territory. Griffiths flies. They pile in, and they piled into that. Oh, that's nasty from Greenwood. That is kicking in danger, and he has hurt Rance. The stinging fingers of the fullback. He'll have it at left half forward. He's patting the air to get them all to slow down. I don't think speed's their issue at the moment. Rance needs a few moments to compose himself. He's going to set it up to the hot spot, see where they can fly from. Hampson with good purpose, knocked away by Brown. Sinclair at the drop is stripped of the footy. Reid lays the tackle to prevent any further progress from the Tiger attackers. Townsend was trying to burrow through. It'll be tossed up 20 out from goal.
Big pack of players around this throw up. Hampson wins it down. Martin is lurking. Couldn't get there first though. Aish picks it up, gives the handball to Greenwood at defensive 50. Kick partially smothered. Hawley meets it. Full-chested, gave the handball to Brandon Ellis, back to Hawley to fall forward. Reid stretches, got hands to it, couldn't mark. Short there, gets dispossessed, got taken high. Free kick to Richmond. And this shot at goal will only be 20 metres maximum out on a 45-degree angle left of centre.
Inside is this quarter 13-5 in Richmond's favour. Certainly had their opportunities.
I'm not sure that the umpire will be marked positively on that one. It was a terrific tackle, ferocious tackle. It hardly got to his shoulder, let alone around his neck.
It's his first game, Jayden Short. He's already got one. Now put him down for two. So it's the first gamer that shows his more experienced teammates how to go about their work.
He's really sore as well.
Yeah, he looks like he might have hurt himself. Lindsay?
Yeah, it looks like he's carrying his left shoulder there. I agree with Parker. It was nowhere near high, but it might have been the way how he fell. It's his left shoulder at the moment.
Richmond 3-8-26, Collingwood 3-2-20. Nearly 22 minutes played in the second quarter.
So Grimes out of the game. Short, stung, and Grigg hobbled.
And it's going to be important, Jared, if that pans out in the way you're suggesting at the finish. We've heard talk to so many clubs this week about the interchange and rotations and fit players. It's got to have an impact.
Richmond by a lucky goal. Late in the second term, Griffiths to Cochin, clean in the middle. Hand passed it to Miles, who gave it to Hunt. Kicks out the southern wing. Menadue comes up at it, overruns it. Oxley's a chance at the back. Menadue pushes him over and gets him out of play. And we'll drift over under the southern stands. Griffiths and Grundy to go at it. Griffiths trying to get it down to Cochin. Didn't initially take it. Works his way clear. Hand passes for Grigg. He gets it onto Martin, who kicks up to the 50. Vickery reaches up. Brown made the spoil. Lambert's after it. Collingwood had numbers against him, though. Grundy works it to Brown and off to Greenwood. Feeds it out the back to Pendlebury. Hemmed in on the boundary. He kicks down the southern wing. McIntosh flew early and pretty well against Aish. He couldn't pull it in. McIntosh turns tackler on Aish, who's still working. Feeds the hand pass out to the side for Grundy. Trying to get it on to Crisp. He succeeded. Up now to McCaffer. Gives it to Treloar. The kick inside 50. It drifts forward. They've got numbers at it. Aish couldn't hang on with the flight. And the moment passes. Although it's going to come back. Treloar intercepts the hand pass. He works it off to Aish, who gives it to McCaffer, who flings it onto the boot, where it's marked at fullback by Hawley.
Hawley gives the handball to Brandon Ellis, who shapes a short pass to Townsend, who takes it at defensive 50, left half back. There's another Richmond player that looks a bit sore in back play. As Townsend comes to the members' side towards Revolt, who marks strongly in front of Langdon. Defensive wing. Short pass has to be precise, and down low Lambert. Not paid the mark. Umpire says half volley. I thought he got there on the full. The umpire will instead throw it up. Lambert not happy. 24 minutes played second quarter. Richmond by 6 points. Umpire throws it up. Crisp wins it down. Taken by Lambert, though, of the Tigers. Defensive handball to Hawley. Got tackled and well. Grundy comes up with a footy. He handballs it not well. Straight to Townsend. On his knees. Handballs to McIntosh of Richmond. Handball to Brandon Ellis. Handball back to Miles. Gets tackled off the footy. Brandon Ellis goes again. Handball on the bounce to Martin. Three come at him. Gets tackled. Dispossessed. Holding the ball. Free kick Collingwood.
They want the advantage. Adams gives it to Sinclair. Side steps out of the congestion. Hand passes to Brown, who kicks beyond halfway. Blair's his target. Hunt with a well-timed spoil. The ricochet might work, though, for the Pies. Oxley gets it back, gives it to Blair, kicks it up to Treloar on the bounce, feeds the hand pass to Oxley, who kept on coming onto the right boot. No direction about the kick. In fact, it hits the behind post on the full. No score.
Either
Richmond by
side
6 points.
just need to compose possession, slow it down a little bit.
They go by handballs, Richmond. Pooley with a handball to Brandon Ellis. Down the line by hand to Miles. He's in trouble. Handballs back to Brandon Ellis. He's tackled, but tackled high. Free kick to Richmond. 90 seconds remaining in the half. Miles. For some reason, Miles is getting the free kick when it was Brandon Ellis that was taken high.
They both got taken high, as it turns out.
Miles will kick towards the wing. Standing under it was Townsend. There's a free kick for shepherding in the contest. Free kick to Collingwood, to Grundy. On the members' wing. You can hear the crowd. They're getting frustrated by watching this. Short ball into McCaffer, justified in their frustration. McCaffer nearly at half forward. Or going short to Adams, almost front right corner of the square. But it has been a slow build-up, so Richmond have been able to get numbers back. High ball, Galt's in the contest, couldn't mark, good spoil. Now the ball gets to the drop with players diving in on top of the footy. Umpire will wait and call for a throw-up. 25, maybe 30 metres out from Collingwood's goal.
Last play of the half. Richmond by a goal. Vickery swats it clear straight to Greenwood, flings it onto the left boot. Blazers are behind, near side. They'll be down by 5 points at the main break. As long as the kicking is okay, and Hawley makes it so. Kicked it into the back pocket, where it's been marked by Townsend. Townsend kicks it for territory, well beyond the defensive 50. Revolt with a few to fly against. Brown got hands to it. Revolt receives it from Menadou, who swooped on the loose ball. He kicked it out in front of Lloyd, but the siren beat the play. It'll be better later, I promise. What I'll guarantee is it won't be worse. Richmond 3-8-26 to Collingwood 3-3-21. 5 points in it at half-time. In that quarter, Richmond kicked 1 goal 6 to Collingwood's 1 goal 2. The goal kickers are for Solo, De Goey and Moore for the Pies. 2 for Jaden Short on debut, and Lambert with the other for the Tigers. Richmond by 5 points at half-time, with Dylan Grimes out of the game with a hamstring injury from that first term. This is all unfolding on Grandstand AFL on ABC Local Radio, News Radio and Grandstand Digital. Brad Sewell and David Parkin.
First comment is there are 65 to 70,000 very frustrated football followers here, and there are 5 commentators they know of, at least associated with the ABC, who are feeling just the same as the 65 or 70,000 who turned up. And I'm not sure. I keep thinking, where can it get better? I've got intrigued. I must admit, I've lost interest in the game as a game. I'm just watching Rance and Cloak as a contest against each other, and who's prepared to go further up the ground, Rance or Cloak, without their opponent. Rance is fantastic. He's a terrific anticipator, great decision maker, and is allowing Cloak to get 50 and 60 metres off the back at a time when the game is still in doubt. Coming out of the back, out of his forward 50 coming out, and he's prepared to take that kind of risk. That intrigues me, but the game itself has just lacked the, what did you call it, the precision in
there's no... That either side, and Richmond have had more of the ball that quarter, they just need to compose possession, because what they're doing is they're handballing around in a phone booth, and if I'm pressuring you and you're handballing to a teammate, I can go from you to the next and not getting clean, clear passages of play. It'd be nice just to see one of the senior players, the good ball users, just to hold on to it, switch the ball a couple of times, allow the space to open up, and then once they get that overlap handball, then they can move with purpose. But right now, it's just scrappy across the field.
And I watched Williams at foot kicking in. I don't think in the modern game I've seen a bloke honk it long. He's not gone honked it down the middle all the time. It goes honked it outside, honked it outside. And it's the precision of the blokes who are actually making position somewhere inside and clear have not been used once. He's ignored them, and they're getting frustrated and waving their hands and think, well, I'm out here, at least we'll keep possession of the ball. So he honks it out line, becomes a 50-50, half the time has come back in again. So some of the method that they're using doesn't ring true to me either. They look like a side who panicked a bit and trying to look at the most efficient way. That ain't efficient football in the modern game. You've got to keep possession of the ball. So it's been we talked about it being frustrating, but the way these two teams are playing at the moment, no one that is on either team, would have confidence with each other.
No.
I don't think on either side. And anybody who was watching tonight and knew they're going to play either of these teams next week were thinking, well, we've got them covered. This is not going to test us at all. So I'm a bit frustrated, very disappointed at the standard. And when you get a terrific roll up in a stadium like this, thousands of people have come to see a game played in the best football conditions you could possibly have.
Yep.
And we've seen a game that probably is about VFL standard.
On the stat sheet, there's really not much in it besides the fact that Richmond have had 19 clearances to Collingwood's 8.
That's a flogging, isn't it?
It is an absolute flogging. But that said, I mean, that's why the game has been played in Richmond's half, because they're getting first use of the ball. They haven't been efficient in going forward. They've had
24 inside 50s each.
Yep.
Has created the opportunity. The same
with little purpose. There hasn't been a great method to the inside 50s, just because they haven't been able to capitalise.
Well, I've made the point. The 8 behinds, 4 of those were certainties. I've written down four of the 8 that they missed were absolute certainties that any league football in this day and age should kick easily.
Which comes back to the point of that the indecision and the sloppiness of play is contagious. That the second guessing of your teammates, of what the team is doing, then that flows into your own game as well, which might be what we're seeing in front of goal for Richmond.
Yeah, been disappointing. Young Short's probably not had a great impact, but he's kicked 2, hasn't he, at this stage?
He's had 3 kicks for 3 scores.
3 kicks for 3 scores. That's pretty efficient, I suppose. So
yeah,
that's a plus, but he hasn't had much to look at.
Treloar and Pendlebury have had a lot of the ball for Collingwood. 17 for Treloar, 16 to Pendlebury. And then for Richmond, Hawley's had 20. Brown Ellis 18 and McIntosh 15 with Cochin as well on 15.
I'm a bit of a rap for Hooley. I thought Hooley was a competent, outside, good-using player, but he has got all the attributes. He wins his own ball. He's far better above his head for his height than he shows. He's very competitive beast, and he does get a good result for his usage, both hand and foot. So that's a real plus. He's going at 75%. And with 20 disposals in the first half, you'd like those numbers against your name.
Yes.
So that's where we are at half-time. David Parkin and Brad Sewell go and bunk each other up out the back, and we'll all come back in a more positive frame of mind and hope it turns. Richmond 3-8-26 to Collingwood 3-3-21 at half-time, no less. More coming up after the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Adam Story with ABC News. Premiers and Chief Ministers have refused to back the Prime Minister's plan to allow them to levy their own income taxes, but they have agreed to consider proposals to share income tax revenue with the states. There is no new Commonwealth funding for schools, but states will get an additional $2.9 billion in health funding. The Prime Minister, Malcolm Turnbull, says more analysis will be done on income tax.
There was not a consensus among the states and territories to support further consideration of the proposal that would enable states to levy income tax on their own behalf.
The Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews says he'll provide a detailed report on Victoria's Royal Commission into Family Violence at the next COAG meeting. All premiers and territory leaders have been invited to a national summit on family violence to be held in Queensland in October. Mr Andrews says the next COAG meeting will consider adopting some of the Royal Commission's 227 recommendations.
I'm very pleased that colleagues have agreed that at our next meeting I'll bring a more detailed report on the Royal Commission into family violence. A number of those recommendations, of the 227 recommendations, a number of those called for me to take to COAG a number of issues, and I'm very grateful to the Prime Minister and to colleagues for their agreement to do just that at our next meeting.
Authorities in Monaco have raided the homes and offices of oil company Unaoil. The raids were in response to a request from Britain's Serious Fraud Office for assistance in an investigation into alleged corruption involving foreign companies in the global oil sector. The allegations came to light in a joint report by Fairfax Media and the Huffington Post. The article reported that the US Department of Justice and anti-corruption police in Britain and Australia have launched a joint investigation into the activities of Unaoil. About $23 billion has been wiped off the share market, with the big banks hit hard. Tui Yong has the details.
There was selling across all major sectors, but banking stocks recorded some of the biggest losses. The ASX 200 was down 1.6% to one-month lows of 4,999, while the All Ordinaries closed 1.5% lower at 5,074. Mining stocks recovered slightly on the release of better-than-expected Chinese manufacturing data. Analyst at IG, Angus Nicholson, says investors appear to be wary.
There is a real nervousness coming in as investors look ahead to the US earnings season.
Share markets across the region, including Japan and China, also closed lower ahead of key US jobs data due out later tonight.
The Australian dollar is slightly higher at 76.6 US cents. A hostage who escaped from the Lindt Cafe during the Sydney siege has told an inquest he hasn't been able to return to work since. Jamel Wells has more.
Cafe employee Paolo Vassallo said he's been back to the cafe once since the siege and was only able to stay for 5 minutes. He said he still cries when he reads his police statement about what happened. Mr. Vassallo said after he escaped through a fire door, he told heavily armed police waiting outside they should move in or the hostages still inside would die. He said he was concerned gunman Manharon Monis was violent and paranoid. The coroner's investigating the deaths of the gunman and 2 hostages in December 2014. Jamel Wells, ABC News, Sydney.
A new report says more adults in the world are now obese than underweight, and there is almost no chance of meeting a global target to reduce obesity. The BBC's Jane Draper reports.
These scientists writing in The Lancet say that 4 decades ago being underweight was a far more common problem than obesity. But now the world has changed, with more adults obese than underweight. The research, which pooled data on height and weight from 186 countries, found obesity among men has tripled since 1975 and more than doubled in women. More obese men and women now live in China and the US than in any other country. However, being underweight remained a significant health problem in countries such as India and Bangladesh.
South Korean officials say North Korea has fired another short-range missile off its coast just hours after regional leaders met in Washington to discuss the threat of Pyongyang's nuclear weapons program. It was the latest in a series of North Korean missile launches during elevated military tension on the Korean peninsula, which started in January with Pyongyang's 4th nuclear test. Tomorrow's capital city weather: Brisbane mostly sunny, 31, Sydney mostly sunny, 31, Canberra mostly sunny and 26, Melbourne showers and 20, Hobart a few showers, a top of 17, Adelaide a possible morning shower with a top of 23, a partly cloudy day forecast for Perth with a top of 28, and Darwin a possible shower or storm and 35. ABC News.
ABC Radio online and on mobile is here. Hear your favourite shows, hear your favourite podcasts, anywhere. Wherever you go, ABC Radio is online and on your mobile. And you can download the ABC Radio app for free. Hear now, hear later, hear anywhere. Hear here. You're with Grandstand.
He edges away and gets it onto his boot, out in front of Fasolo, who lets it bounce. It comes into his grasp, but he's too far out to score. His work is good, though. And De Goey, working hard over the top, takes the mark very much within range. Jordan De Goey, 40 metres out on the angle, no trouble at all. And for all of Richmond's attacking in this term, it's Collingwood that puts up the first goal. And they're back in front.
They've missed so many in this term, Richmond. This to put Richmond back in front. No, he's missed as well. And Richmond, 2 goals, 7-19. It's 5 behinds for the term. Gave the handball to Brandon Ellis, back to Hawley to fall forward. Reid stretches, got hands to it, couldn't mark. Short there, gets dispossessed, got taken high. Free kick to Richmond. He's already got 1. Now put him down for 2. So it's the first gamer that shows his more experienced teammates how to go about their work.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Local Radio and on digital radio, ABC Grandstand.
Half-time at the MCG, Richmond by 5 points over Collingwood. 3-8-26 to the Magpies, 3-3-21. In other sport, it's half-time in the NRL. The Broncos 10 leading the Titans 4. The full-time score in the Super Rugby was the Highlanders 32. They defeated the Force 20. And in the A-League, it's Western Sydney 3, leading Central Coast 1. I didn't mind Max Lockton's thoughts here. April Fools. We picked 44 random people off the street and put them in Richmond and Collingwood Guernseys. Let's see what happens. So we've had a little element of that to it. Adam White, the stats to go with the 6 goals so far.
We know we're struggling when Andrea is putting in behinds in the highlights package at half-time. Richmond, 200 disposals to Collingwood, 184. Marks 54 to 44 Richmond's way. Clearances 18 to 9 Richmond's way. Tackles 26 each. Contested possessions Richmond by 5, 69 to 64. Inside 50s 24 each. Individually for Richmond, Hooley 20 disposals and 4 inside 50s. Brandon Ellis 18 disposals and 4 inside 50s. Caden McIntosh 15 disposals, Cochin 15, so he had 9 in the second quarter, Grigg 13, Townsend 12, and then 11 each to Lloyd and Martin, 10 each to Miles and Revolt. For Collingwood, Treloar has 17 disposals, Pendlebury 16, Crisp 14, Oxley 12, Greenwood 12 with 7 contested possessions, and then 11 to Ramsey. One positive has been Adam Treloar, who looks so much better than so many of his other Collingwood teammates, even though he's only playing his second game for the Magpies. So it is Richmond leading at halftime, 3-8-26 to Collingwood 3-3-21. So it's a 5-point lead to the Tigers. They did lead by a single point at quarter time.
So how do you get a team out of out of the funk? They're not meaning to play like this. So there are structural issues, and Lindsay Gilbey was talking to us about those at the half-time break, about putting too many players up into the contest.
And when you think about it, we should have picked that. Shirley and I, been watching the game, should have seen the structure that was being used. When you have a normal 6 forwards and basically take up their roles or structure within the forward 50, or certainly on the front end of the square, and that was reduced to 5 and then 4 and then 3, and often as we saw tonight 2, it means that the extra 2, 3 or 4 forwards become virtual midfielders and they play between the arcs, and that of course then reduces the time and space to do anything, because you're always under pressure in winning it. You're certainly under extra pressure in numbers to prevent you doing what you want to do, whether it's tackle or as we call, what do you call it these days?
Pressing or the corralling.
Or corralling them, as they say these days. So that makes the...
But it's hard to find space out there. But once you have that composed possession, or once you have a free kick, once you have that mark, you're the one that's in controlling the play. So if you just actually take a bit more time and allow the space to clear, allow your forwards to work in front of the ball, allow your mids to work in between and work with each other to try and find some space, and you compose your way down the ground that way, instead of what they're trying to do here is that slingshot movement, turnover, which is what we're seeing at the moment.
And it's not good to watch.
No.
If you ask the players, and they were honest, it wouldn't be fun to play that way either. They couldn't be enjoying their football. And it's almost gone from the sublime to the ridiculous in what we saw in the manner which games were played last week. It would be a horrification after having been so excited by what we saw that if the game over this weekend deteriorated into contests of this nature, because people are more frightened to lose than they are to take the courage to actually win it. So I'll be interested if the structures change, if the advice or direction to players has been modified in some way, and we see a game of substance with real good skill levels being played, because we've seen none of that, in my opinion.
Can I ask you a question, David? In all your time in coaching, can you coach someone to be a good kick that's not a good kick?
I've seen poor kicks become reasonable kicks, and reasonable kicks become good kicks, and good kicks become outstanding kicks. But I've never seen anybody come into the game who had a very poor kick and was a very, very ordinary kick become a great kick.
I speak to Mick McGuan, former Collingwood Copeland Trophy winner, premiership player, and he talks about Collingwood all the time, that they can have all the good midfielders in the world in regards to numbers, but he says that too many of them can't kick.
And that's been, if
we've seen it tonight.
With Mick and fed us with the information before, the real difference between the two sides is the kicking, the midfield kicking or efficiency or lack of it. Richmond aren't much better. No, Richmond have been poor once inside 50 and weren't able to convert, but Collingwood haven't shown any precision at all with their feet in midfield context.
So they're setting up to play a particular game which is based on you need to kick the ball well, and they're not.
Well, and we don't...
Or they can't.
No, well, McCaffer is not, a precision user of the ball. I think Treloar has the capacity to be pretty good. He looks to be all right, doesn't he?
Much as just a kick within your limitations. There's nothing worse than a poor kick trying to hit that worm burner 50 metres away. Play within limitations, and then you can sort of get away with it in that regard.
We'll see a player like Blair, I think, is going at 44%.
Yep.
Now, he's a small player, wins the ball extremely well, carried, very brave, etc., good with his hands. But if you're running at a 44%, you're giving it away, you're giving it back to the opposition every second time.
Yep.
And he's a part of the problem. And I think the further we go, look, then Greenwood's not a precision kick. He gets under it and gives it height and gives the opposition a chance to get to it. So I think that's a fair... Adam, I think that's a fair sort of summation of where they are as a midfield group. Even the captain's not tonight. He hasn't been nearly as selective. He's been under pressure both hand and foot, and hasn't given the clean access to for his teammates. So I don't know what he's running at.
You don't want to know.
No, I don't. He's running at 100%, is he? No.
Lindsay Gilbey.
He is too. Ignore it.
Just further to Parko and Sully's point, it's so important that you have your good ball users at half-back, because as you saw in that first half, there's a lot of numbers around both D50 stoppages. So if you're going to chain out by hand, you're going to get closed down really quickly. So if you have your good ball users like Hooley, and they see Pendlebury starting in the back line for Collingwood, it's the best way to get through fronting defences.
Richmond by 5 points into the third term on Grandstand AFL with Adam White.
With Grundy and Hansen in the ruck, but it's Greenwood for Collingwood. Once the ball hit the turf, kicking to centre half forward. Rance dropped the mark for Richmond. Has some support on the deck with Hawley, though. Giving the handball out to McIntosh. On his left, don't like the kick. It's going to fall a little bit short, but off hands, Richmond will come up with it just through numbers. Townsend getting it from Menadue. Kicks up towards half forward. Coming out to meet it on the half volley was Ramsey. Kept it in front of himself. Then had some support with Sinclair. Linking up by hand with Reid. Over to Frost. Clumsy little handball, so he had to get it back. Then gave the handball to Greenwood. Frost the third time in this chain. Kicking inside the 50. More up. Stretching. Did it stick? It did. A mark to Darcy Moore. About 40 from goal. Right of centre.
I don't know how it got there. 3 lousy hand passes, all went to the ground on the way back out of their defensive 50. It's ended up with a very, very good mark from the young fellow. I mean, he's got great athleticism, got up and clunked it. But it wasn't all that convincing.
No.
It went from the back 50 to the forward 50.
Contested mark there against Rance, no less. Managed to hold on to that.
Good.
For the second time, he's beaten Rance in a marking contest. To the punt road end, a chance for his second goal and the perfect start to the second half to Collingwood. But it's missing to the left, across the face, only a behind. Collingwood 3-4, Richmond 3-8.
McIntosh is going to kick in. Into the back pocket for Rance, who wheels and goes. He kicks it 50 metres up the field. He's looking for Vickery. It carried him. And Sinclair arrives for the Magpies to take the intercepting mark. He squares it into Ramsey. Ramsey's got DeGoey 30 metres up ahead. He didn't go there. Instead, he gives the hand pass back to Sinclair, who has to come wide through for Solo. He'll give ground back to the logo for Ramsey. So still on the centre line, the Magpies. He's signalling an intention to kick it deep. Andy will follow through. Hard inside the 50, Asprey takes a 2-grabber, which didn't seem to be paid, so he had to kick it away in a hurry. It bounced over the top of Fasolo, which was lucky for Richmond. And Short is onto it. He's dragged down. Langdon wins holding the ball. So Langdon will have it at left half forward.
There's a lot of players ahead of him because it has been such a slow build-up. Langdon about 60 from goal. It's a flat kick to the square. Moore again got hands to it. This time it didn't stick. A lot of players around the ball. It comes out Richmond's way. Hooley with a handball to Menadue. Handball out to Grigg. Grigg will go back by hand. Defensive 50 to Hooley. He's running sideways. He's confronted by Grundy, so has to retreat with a handball to Cochin. Short pass into Martin. Now they've got a player on the open side. Martin flares it to the members' wing. Brandon Ellis going back with a flight. Went with one arm. Didn't mark it. Now has to retrieve the footy off the turf and kick down the line to Short, who stretches, doesn't mark, gets pushed out by Fasolo. He'll take the free kick between wing and half forward right.
So Short in the play further from goal in this term. Sideways and backwards to Cochin on the members' wing. He gains 20 metres with a kick to Martin. Vickery wants it deep and wide. Martin's had a look, and for the time being that's not what he's going to do. He might be forced to, though, having been called to play on. Vickery had led up out of the space. Revolt flew the pack. He didn't pull it in. He got over the top like Michael Roach. Couldn't hold it on the chest. Spills away and out of play 50 metres from the goal at the City end. The Tigers by 4. Hampson's arm was tugged by Grundy as they formed up for the ruck. And so Sean Hampson gets the free kick. He's going to give it to Hooley, who's on the run, 50 out. He's hit it too wide. It's well out to the left. And it's through for a behind. Richmond again by 5 points.
On that last foray for Richmond and in Collingwood's last 4-2 entry as well, there is no movement forward of the ball. There's no genuine leads by their forwards. This is why he's bombing it long inside 50.
Williams kicks to a 1-on-2. That wasn't a great option. The Magpies have at least got numbers at ground level. Adams working with Ramsey. Got it back and then got tackled. Had to rush the kick as a result to Blair. Didn't come up with it. Cochin did. Got the handball. Gets it back. Then handballs to Revolt. Caught on his left. Kick smothered. Still a chance for the Tigers with Martin on the snap from 35. He'll liven up the night. He kicks the first goal of the second half and the Tigers have got a mini break. 4-9-33. Collingwood 3-4-22. 5 played third quarter.
I don't know whether I'm strange, but Marley Williams went for a 2-on-1 on the kick-off. Again, he went for a medium-long one. Defensive one.
Yep.
Yeah, reasonably wide. 2-on-1 on the end of it. We had 5 minutes to think about that and kick it to. That sort of decision-making kills you.
They've kicked 2 in a row in the game. It's the first time the lead's been out beyond a straight kick. Richmond by 11. 5.5 minutes gone of this third term. Grundy and Hampson go after a straight bounce. Grundy won the tap and almost the follow-up. Hampson ends up pulling it clear. He threw it over his head. The umpire let him have it. Townsend was dragged down in the tackle. And they'll do it again. Not huge numbers around it, though, in them. Tossed up. Hampson reaches in. Defensive side of the pack. Nobody there for him. Treloar winkles a kick away. It bounces through half-forward. Cloak. Clever knocked down to De Goey, who kicks to the teeth of goal. Moore sets himself lost and with an expert spoil gets it through for a rushed behind. It's the Tigers by 10.
Well, Stone kicks it straight back into play towards Revolt, who can't mark. Oxley claimed it for Collingwood. It was told, the umpire told him to play on. He kicks into the pocket. Galt can't mark. It's close to the line, and it will be thrown up with Langdon applying a big tackle on Glostone. In fact, it's going to be thrown in. It was right next to the line. About 35 metres around from Collingwood's goal at the punt road end. Grundy wins the tap down. Cochin got a piece of it. Crisp tackles him and then keeps the ball underneath him. So as a result of that, it'll be thrown up again. Another stoppage. Umpire trying to give himself some room as he throws it up. Grundy wins it down to Oxley. Just had a little bit of a fumble. Handball stolen by Lambert of the Tigers. Handball out to Grigg. Oxley with the tackle, but Grigg shrugs the tackle and then kicks towards the southern wing. Big pack of players. No mark taken at the drop. Lloyd was there for Richmond. Handball out to Cochin to Revolt. Richmond on the run.
Revolt's hand pass to midfield for Hunt, who puts it onto the right boot inside 50. Vickery's playing from behind and it never arrived. It flopped in short and Sinclair takes the intercepting mark. He spreads it out to Pendlebury at left half back. 2 bounces for the skipper. A long look downfield and a kick in that direction. Up over the pack came McIntosh trying to, Asprey trying to claim the mark. He did enough to jolt it clear to Floston, to Hunt, and his kick again is no good. He's turned it over. Ramsey has it on the members' wing, gives it to Pendlebury, now to Treloar. This is a good entry for Collingwood. Cloak from the side for Solo in front. For Solo, protected in to take the mark.
Oh, I've just got frustrated too. They're going in. Hunt got the ball twice, clean and clear, and gave the ball back and allowed on the rebound Collingwood an easy entry with people going the wrong direction. I expect Hunt to continue to have the ball.
It's an easy one for Fasolo, and he nurses it through for his second goal. And the Magpies cut it back to 4 points. 4-5-29 to Richmond 4-9-33. 8.5 minutes gone of the third.
Ping pong.
Oh, it is a bit.
It's just ping pong football. They're moving, Richmond in particular, just moving in straight lines. When you load up like that, start moving the angles and going, switching the play a bit, get a chance everyone to catch up. Lindsay.
Yeah, just David Asprey, he was on the bench before, went back on, comes straight back off with his right wrist. He was holding it, he's gone straight down into the rooms.
That would leave Richmond to 2 on the bench if he wasn't able to get back out on the field.
2 defenders.
Yeah. With Grimes already out of action with a hamstring. Back in the middle. Nothing's really eventuating from the bounce. They're all diving in on top of it. It'll be thrown up still inside the centre square. Richmond's lead 4 points at the 9-minute mark of the third term with a goal apiece in this quarter. Thrown up. Crisp up for Collingwood. Martin comes up with a footy. Handball to Miles, knocked off the ball. Taylor Hunt's there, well tackled there by Jagoe inside the centre square. I reckon the umpire's going to call it here. Holding the ball, he will. So Jagoe has the ball inside the centre square. He'll handball to Williams, who is flat-footed. He just punches it as far as he can. Vlostone with a double-fisted punch finds the boundary. The umpire says throw it in. Collingwood fans wanting deliberate. Deep in the right forward pocket here for the Magpies at the punt road end. Deep breaths in the back of the box. Ball gets thrown in. Hanson gets to the front. Gold over the top. Brandon Ellis from the congestion. Clears for Richmond. Coming up, Reid takes the mark, though, for the Magpies. On his chest, about 60 from goal. He's seen Langdon. He goes in that direction, and Langdon will mark, backing back on his chest. 40 from goal, left of centre.
Terrific decision and an equally as good execution.
He did it well, didn't he?
You talk about going the angles, and that's a 50-metre, almost 60 degrees, and he's got Langdon just clear his opponent. A fantastic kick.
42 games without a goal, Whitey.
Here we go. Big moment. Tom Langdon, the number 8, comes in, kicks it like a full forward. Never looked like missing. And that goal puts Collingwood in front. 5-5-35 to Richmond, 4-9-33 at the 11-minute mark of the third term. 2 in a row to the Magpies.
Great response by his teammates too. Everybody getting around him to scruff up his hair. Parker.
Yeah.
Big smile.
Yeah.
It's nice. I wish we used to do it. I missed out on that. We didn't do that in our careers. Really disappointed I see all that hugging and patting and thumb tapping and all that sort of stuff. It's something that's come into the game which I reckon I would have been good at that.
He's the least likely goal kicker on the field, bar Jack Frost, who's played 45 games without a league goal. In the middle, Grigg with a clean takeaway from the Hampson tap, but getting back in front of the pack is Ramsey. And he thwarts the lead of Vickery. Ramsey into the right back pocket for Sinclair. Out to the defensive 50 for Brown. Kaffer comes up on a lead. Adams is a legitimate target out at half-back. That's where it goes. Adams turns and gets some fluency into the play. His kick is a neat one for Cloak. Up on the centre line under the southern stand, and he has a mind to get going. Dumps it up towards the 50. There'll be quite the pack. More! Left the pack. Not paid. It still might come off for Solo. Kicks into Grundy, who is alone in the square. Collingwood puts up 3 in a row, and suddenly they lead by 8 points. 6-5-41 to Richmond, 4-9-33, 13th minute of the third term.
Moore just created the contest. He couldn't quite hold on to it, but at the very least brought it to ground. And I don't quite know where Grundy came from, but he's popped up out of nowhere and forward 50 with plenty of space.
He's an excitement machine, young Moore. He really can jump. He's athletic, he's brave, he's a skinny kid who wouldn't go 95 kilos, would he?
But he's strong. The marking contest against Rance before, Rance gave him everything, a full body spoil, and he still managed to hold on to it.
Yep.
He's getting his hands to a lot.
He is.
He's not marking a lot, but he's not being outmarked. In the middle we go once more. Crisp for the Magpies. Got tackled to ground as he tried to get his handball away. They all dive in on top of the footy. Grundy trying to show strength to come out with it. But the whistle blew before he could do that, so it'll be thrown up. Vickery and Grundy in the ruck. Bobbles around the footy. Kind of goes Richmond's way. Lloyd overruns the footy. Goes again. It's just a mess of players. Greenwood for the Magpies. Defensive handball to Ramsey. Now with Reed, confronted by Revolt, gets onto his left. It's a flat kick. It's a searing ball to Greenwood. And the Magpies are away again. Up towards Cloak. Juggles on the one arm. Yes! He's paid it against Rance. That's an important win to Travis Cloak and to Collingwood. Just outside the 50. He's kicking deep. They all have a run at it. Fasolo got hands to it. Couldn't mark front of the pack. Treloar darts away. Somehow gets boot to ball towards the square. They fight for it about 15 out from Collingwood's goal. It will be thrown up more with a big, big tackle on Menadue.
How important are Reed's sure hands decision-making behind centre for Collingwood?
Thrown up. Knocked down to McCaffer, got it over his shoulder toward the square where it's swatted through by Dustin Martin from about 7 metres away from the line. It's a rushed score and Collingwood's lead grows to 9 points. Martin is there to mark the kick in the back pocket. Flip the hand pass over the top to McIntosh, who gets it onto Menadue, confronted by Langdon. He got the hand pass away though. Floston through McIntosh and now to Hunt, whose kicking's been poor in this term. He's corralled, he's doubling back, he's unsure. He waits the hand pass to Menadue, who can't find the way over, and they have coughed it up. Good tackle from Pendlebury, forced the turnover. Langdon to Greenwood, to Pendlebury, to Langdon, almost out. Works it forward to Crisp. One more hand pass, couldn't get it away. Floston wrapped him up. McCaffer pulled it clear. Hand pass to Sinclair. Collingwood does go forward. Hawley against Fasolo. Fasolo leapt from behind. At the crumb, the Tigers have numbers. Townsend, Hooley and Brandon Ellis is the runner.
It's starting to open up. Ellis with a couple of bounces. Now a third. Crosses the southern wing. Gives the handball to Hooley, who was riding shotgun. He kicks inside the 50. In front, Vickery through his hands. Pendlebury overruns it, and Short picks up. This is a gift. This is a gift. Short's run into an open goal for his third and gets one of those Collingwood goals back. Richmond within 3. 5-9-39 the Tigers. The Magpies 6-6-42. 16 played third term. You wouldn't see that more than once a year from Scott Pendlebury.
I don't think I've seen it in once in his career. And he was in I don't know whether he lifted his head or was looking for the option after he got it, but it clean bowled him. It was an embarrassing, poor stroke.
I'm going to say it was a bad bounce, give him benefit of the doubt, because it was outnumbered. I think he was aware of that.
Yes, well, that's very hurtful because they had the number, had 2 versus 1, and he wasn't able to do the job.
Yes, Nathan Buckley doesn't agree that he was unlucky for what it's worth. Collingwood by 3 points beyond the halfway mark of the third term. Greenwood goes off the ground out to the middle. Hunt has it tidied up at half back. He took the tackle instead of the footy to Goey. Quite rightly wins holding the ball. Hunt, I'm not quite sure what his plan was there. To Goey wrenches it clear and kicks the full forward where Fasolo flies high and he can't quite hang on. Free kick. A push. So Fasolo got pushed to the heights of the pack, the umpire would have us think. Yes, I'm not really sure about that. He jumped up over the top, got his hands to it. McIntosh with the right hand and the number 1, and that's just enough. And Fasolo takes full toll. He kicks his third, and he cancels out the Pendlebury error. Collingwood resets the lead at 9 points, 7-6-48 to Richmond 5-9-39.
It's a bit better, isn't it?
Oh.
Opened up a bit. Sure
Beautiful
ball
game of football.
Some sure ball handling out there. Much nicer.
Some terrific leaps without having actually taken it at the top end, hasn't it? I love seeing that. Worry about players getting to that height and protecting themselves on the way down. We've had a few that are badly bruised on attempts to mark tonight.
Well, we saw Fasolo only last week getting a very similar position and looked like he seriously had hurt his neck. But anyway, he's okay. Cochin with the clearance for the Tigers. Around the body, still inside the centre square with the kick. Off hands, it comes out to the members' wing. Grigg will get there first for Richmond. Handball to Martin. Bounces off the tackle from De Goey. Defensive handball to Cochin. Cochin up towards Lambert. Couldn't mark, but he's first to recover. Handballs to Martin. 60 from goal. Eyes a vacant square. It won't get there, but Vickery marks on his chest in the pocket. He's wanting to open the angle. He's panicking a little bit. The umpire saying he's not quite off his line yet. Now Vickery settles down. He's going to take the shot. He's kind of opened the angle up a little bit as he's backing back in the right forward pocket. So it'll take a very good drop punt. Oh, now there's going to be a 50-metre penalty. Reset.
You were calling what was happening. The umpire who placed the mark had let it go. The other umpire from 60 metres away to come and say, get back where you belong.
Okay, he's now coming in, Vickery. Is he going with a drop punt? Yes, he is. Is he kicking the goal? Yes, he is. Well done, Tyrone Vickery. The margin back to 3 points. Collingwood 7-6-48. Richmond 6-9-45. 19 minutes played in the third quarter.
See, I think the umpire's wrong. When he starts to go that, the umpire should just call play on.
It's called play on?
Good, true play on. He's gone off his mark. He's deliberately going back off his mark. The other umpire had to come and set it. The umpire in control should have just called play on and put him under pressure.
100%. Why does he get the benefit?
Yeah, that's exactly.
That shot clock could have gone twice through.
Well, you're calling it. We can all see it, including the umpire in control, and his mate had to come and point it out. They're starting to get into the rhythm of the game too, the umpire.
No, business has picked up. We have to say, David.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
Time on now, the third term. Collingwood by 3 points. Adams out of the middle with his hand pass to Blair. High ball inside 50. McIntosh came back with the flight. Got in front of Cloak and takes the mark in defence for the Tigers. His kick was particularly short and it's not called as a mark for Cochin, who loops it back over the top to McIntosh, trying to get away from Adams with the fend off, and he does. He brings it out the members' side. Good strong mark taken by Townsend, who means to go. He kicks to the 50. Griffiths was his target, coming with the flight. And jarring the ball clear was Reid. The Magpies scrambling. Williams is caught and dispossessed by Lambert. Hampson has to go. And he threw it away. In the tackle, while Taylor Adams, who stayed busy in that passage of play, he kicks around the wing. There's nobody really looking. Townsend dropped an uncontested mark for the Tigers and let the Maggies back in. Greenwood hugs the boundary with his kick, a bouncing ball. McCaffrey tried to knock it on. McIntosh came the other way. Just caused enough disruption to get it out of bounds.
21 minutes, third term. Collingwood by 3 points here at the MCG. Maybe 70,000 in for Friday night football. Left half forward, the ball gets thrown in, favours Hampson, taps it straight to Treloar of Collingwood. Handball to Pendlebury, absorbs the tackle. Handball wasn't good, shark by Martin. He handballed back into the traffic. Hampson comes through, handballs to Reebok, handballs to Grigg. Richmond out, Martin goes short to Lambert, members wing. And he, with so many numbers up on the footy, he has to wait. Now he kicks to a contest. Wants Vickery. Couldn't mark. Also up there was Griffiths. Front and centre though, Lloyd for Richmond. Handball to Grigg. Grigg up towards full forward. Good defensive work there by Oxley against Menadue. They fight on in the pocket. It's a one-on-one battle. Oxley did okay, tried to get the handball away as he was tackled. Williams comes late to the contest, on his knees, handballs to Treloar. He gets tackled to the ground, but it's coming back. It's going to be a free kick to Collingwood to be taken by Williams. Lindsay Gilbey.
Yeah, like you said, Whitey, before, the game's starting to open up. That last stoppage there, Richmond held their 6 forwards, end up getting out to Lambert. That's why they had space to kick the ball into.
Collingwood by 3 points. Williams out of the back pocket, gets a shepherd on the mark from Pendlebury, goes as far as he can, and his kick is a bit limp, and Asprey is back on the field and he takes the mark for the Tigers. They keep it in their attacking half. Asprey. Long ball back inside the 50. Hampson had his name written all over it. Griffiths kept Pendlebury away, but there were no tools there for Collingwood as the two Richmond ruckmen set up the shot at goal. Sean Hampson. He's 45-degree angle out to the left and 40 metres from goal. He's never the favourite. Not from the top of the square, not from the 50-metre arc. He has one behind tonight. The right foot drop punt. He gave it a good look and it hit the left-hand goalpost nonetheless. A third poster for the Tigers. And they trail by 2 points.
2 behinds to Sean Hampson. Marley Williams has the responsibility to kick it back into play from the city end goal square. He gets the whistle, so he chips it to himself and then kicks it straight to Lloyd of Richmond, who was only 15 metres away. Lloyd doesn't want to take the shot. He's thinking of centering it up, and Vickery's come up to him and said, mate, have the shot.
I think that Richmond were baked during the week for taking too many pot shots from near the boundary line, and every chance they're getting now, they're all looking inside.
Lloyd kicked some really important goals last Thursday night. He opens the angle, and there's another important goal from Sam Lloyd. It puts Richmond in front. 7-10-52. Collingwood 7-6-48. 24 played third quarter. Marley Williams is getting a talking to.
Lloyd just seems to be the guy that pops up at the right time, at the right place, doesn't he?
He was almost the difference last week.
He was, yeah.
And he did the Stevie J round the body, and as it left the foot, he had the hand up, so he's pretty confident about it.
That's part of Stevie J kicking action, isn't it? That's true.
Brad Sewell and David Parkin on grandstand AFL. 4 goals each in the term, after they went 3 goals each for the entire first half. Richmond by 4 points. At the bounce, Hampson read it best, won the tap, but Grundy fights on ground level. It's stolen though by Cochin, who barges his way clear. He kicks to full forward, big leap by Griffiths. He had no timing about it though, and Reid is able to gather at the back of the pack. His kick is not great. It was touched on the way through by Vickery, gathered in the back pocket by Pendlebury though, and he kicks Collingwood to the safety of half back and into the hands of Grundy. He's called to play on, so he gives the hand pass to Aish. He gives it to Pendlebury, who kicks it to no one. Richmond had the 5 closest players to that kick. Hooley brings it inboard, high risk, but always big reward. Found Cochin, worked the hand pass forward to Lambert, and then got it back. Cochin's kick's not much good inside the 50. Collingwood had all the numbers added, but the kick coming out by Oxley was pretty dicey. It's still to be won. Aish might do just that. Hand passes to Ramsey, kicks haphazardly to half forward. Floston waits, gathers, rounded up by McCaffrey, but he got the hand pass away to Rance, who kept himself clean and gave it to Hooley.
Hooley transfers play out to the southern side. Taylor Hunt got a bad bounce. Now he's in a real scrap for the footy at the 50. Langdon came late to provide a contest, and he did extremely well to neutralise that contest. It'll be thrown up at the 50 for Collingwood. Thrown up. Treloar just grabbed it out of the ruck there, gave the handball to Oxley. It was a little messy. They all tumble in on top of the football again. It comes out Richmond's way. Hampson bounces off a tackle, gives the handball to Menadue. Menadue kicks forward of midfield. Revolt marks, front right corner of the square, gets on his left, partially smothered, fell to Vickery, handball to Martin, write it down. This will be a behind. Sorry, Richmond fans. I thought he'd kick it. He didn't. Richmond's lead 5 points, missing to the right-hand side at the 27-minute mark of the third term.
Reid does the kicking in for the Pies. He's gone long and strong and found Oxley clear of the defensive 50. They need a few down the southern side. McCaffrey is the deepest target, but the hang time would be worrying. The kick wasn't much good. Grigg batted it down, but let Marley Williams roar through the middle. Got away from Martin, kicked it off the outside of his boot, and it wobbles into the grass of Brandon Ellis. The Tigers at half-back, sideways to Rance. He's being told to get it out the far side. Floston is in position at left half-back. He works it over the top to Hooley. Miles Hawley going short is his only option for Miles. He brings it up to Grigg, who kicks to the 50 for Menadue. He's too far out to score himself. Vickery wants it in the square. Menadue is inclined to oblige. He puts it to the teeth of goal. Vickery set himself. It's off hands and bumped through for a behind. Richmond's lead is 1 goal neat.
Be fascinated to know what the rotations are now, whether the effect that we've anticipated will in fact come.
Well, it's 60 to 58.
Is it? 60.
At this stage, yep. Pendlebury marks the kick in and then goes long down the line to the southern side of the MCG with Oxley. So a little bit of slow ball here from the Magpies. Oxley kicks down the line over Grundy's head and straight to Bostone of Richmond. Short ball into Miles, doesn't get that far. Good work there from Fasolo. Here they come, the Magpies. Langdon's got one. Has he got two? No, he's missed on the run from 25 out on a direct turnover. Richmond's lead, 5 points, 29 played third quarter.
Well, you don't get much easier than that, do you?
No.
He worked hard, read it well, got into the corridor, clean and clear, and pulled it to his left.
Should have levelled the scores with 20 seconds left in the third term. Brandon Ellis on the kick-in, left the square, goes for Asprey. Had to go the spoil when he arrived, knocks it out of play. $50 out from the Collingwood goal. Maybe one late chance to pinch the lead again. Nothing clean in the ruck. Martin goes to ground on the footy, paddles it out. Miles to the side of the pack for Grigg. Hand pass tipped on the way through. Lambert takes possession. He's dragged down, and that'll be enough to see three-quarter time. Still plenty of errors, but some good footy intertwined in all of it. Richmond, just as they were at halftime, will now turn for home 5 points clear. 7 goals, 12-54. To Collingwood, 7-7-49. 3 for Jayden Short for the Tigers on debut. Martin, Lambert, Lloyd and Vickery one apiece. For Solos, kicked 3 for the Pies and 1 each to DeGoey, Grundy, Langdon and Moore. At three-quarter time, it is Richmond over Collingwood by 5 points. This is Grandstand AFL on ABC Local Radio, News Radio and Grandstand Digital.
If you love being a member of a club, then why not become a member of Facebook, Twitter and Instagram with ABC Grandstand? Stay up to date with sports results and join in discussions on the latest news from around the sporting world.
The Australians like what they've seen.
Plus, view some classic sporting moments posted by the ABC Grandstand team. Explore the world of ABC Grandstand sport on social media through Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Search ABC Grandstand and become a member today.
You're with Grandstand.
Kick smothered, still a chance for the Tigers with Martin on the snap from 35. He'll liven up the night. He kicks the first goal of the second half and the Tigers have got a mini break.
Cloak from the side for Solo in front. Fasolo protected in to take the mark. It's an easy one for Fasolo and he nurses it through for his second goal.
He goes in that direction and Langdon will mark backing back on his chest.
42 games without a goal, Whitey.
Big moment. Tom Langdon comes in, kicks it like a full forward. Never looked like missing. And that goal puts Collingwood in front.
Dumps it up towards the 50. There'll be quite the pack. More! Left the pack. Not paid. It still might come off. Fasolo kicks it to Grundy, who is alone in the square. Collingwood puts up 3 in a row.
In front, Vickery through his hands. Pendlebury overruns it and Short picks up. This is a gift. This is a gift. Short's run into an open goal for his third. So he chips it to himself and then kicks it straight to Lloyd of Richmond. Lloyd kicked some really important goals last Thursday night. He opens the angle and there's another important goal from Sam Lloyd. It puts Richmond in front.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Local Radio and on digital radio ABC Grandstand.
The Tigers by 5 points at the final change. In the NRL tonight, the Broncos 22 lead the Titans 16. 75 minutes up there. And in the A-League, the Wanderers 4 beat the Mariners 1 And the Wanderers, for the moment, go back to the top of the table as a result. David Parkin and Brad Saul.
Well, I'm not sure, Brad, whether you can pick a winner. I'm not sure whether either side has convinced us that they have the manpower at the moment, the confidence to do the job. I think the ableness, that is the injuries, and I think Richmond may be 2 down. Lindsay might be able to...
it could become a factor.
Well, I think it has to become a factor in the way that the game's played now. About even in terms of the rotations, which Adam gave us before. Not a significant difference in that, but if you were too short in rotations in a game that's as close as this and has been, I think, pretty demanding physically. I don't think it's been an easy game to play. Maybe because of a lot of the unpredictability. It's not as easy to flow. You're going back on yourself and recovering positions that you normally just flow through. It's been and Jared's right, there's been a significant improvement in the overall standard. I understand why Reid, when he becomes available, always goes back in. I think he can play forward, but his ability to make right decisions. So you talked about it before.
Yeah, his decision making is so sure with the ball in his hands.
And gets a good result. 2 of his 45, 50 metre, 45 degree angle kicks, which have found his teammates absolutely clean, have been 2 of the best I've seen for the whole night tonight. So you understand why he's such an important part of that defence, which is young. A number of their players, I still worry about Frost. He's as keen as mustard and athletic. He doesn't look to me to be a natural player. Brown, I think, is a combo player. Brown is good for the third tall, but you wouldn't say he's the gun and takes the keys. So they've got some problems down there. Langdon's the one who I thought's been a pretty special boy since he came in 2 years ago, and then sort of plateaued a bit. And he's got on his bike tonight.
Yeah, he moves well. He's covered some ground.
Covered some ground and kicked one. He's kicked one and probably should have kicked the other one too, the one that he missed. But look, it's at least created a last quarter, contest in terms of the difference on the scoreboard being, only 5 points. So we can say at this point anybody can win. I think Richmond have created more opportunities, 19 shots to 14, and probably deserve to get over the line, but I think there's no guarantee in that at all.
Buckley's just pulled all his players in really tight just for one last pep talk before they head out. I think we'll see this open up a little bit more now. Now that players are really starting to tire, that pressuring close just drops off a little bit, and you see a bit more free-flowing, a bit more free-flowing ball movement. For mine, I'm just looking at Richmond and where their upside lies. I mean, Riewoldt been reasonably quiet. He's had 13 possessions, but only kicked had 1 point. Lambert, who was massive for them last week, hasn't had much of the ball either. And flip side, Short is a great story. He's had the five possessions, and he's kicked 3-1. Everything he's touched has almost been a score. So I'm hoping. I think things will open up a little bit here. I'm going to stick my neck out here and say Richmond should be able to maintain the flow and kick away with it.
Well, the disappointment for me is that 3 of their tools, Asprey, Vickery and Griffiths, who are, I think, real keys to them, have contributed minimally. I mean, the combination of the 3 makes one good player. They need something out of their tall forwards, Asprey, Vickery and Griffiths, to do something in the last quarter to ensure a Richmond victory.
Richmond by 5 points heading into the final term. They'll finish off to the punt road end. First bounce of the quarter. Grundy wins the tap. Down to Adams. Off to Treloar. Collingwood goes forward. A bumbling ball through full forward. Rance batted it away. Knocked it down to Hooley. Too fierce with his hand pass. Let for Solo in. He shoots it out to Cloak, who shoots it through for a goal. The Maggies grab the lead within 20 seconds at the start of the final term. Cloak with his first. Collingwood by a point, 8-7 to 7-12.
A right foot snap, no less for Cloak.
Maybe he's a right footer.
That's a very difficult kick for a big bloke, and it didn't look like missing that he came off the boot. But his attack on the ball, his control of the ball, left Rance way back in the he just let him go. It was a terrific individual effort at a time where the pressure's on him, and Collingwood needed him to provide something. Very big moment in the game.
Pendlebury 24, Treloar 23 for Collingwood, Hooley 30, Cochin 26 for the Tigers. the big ball winners so far. Hampson in the right, jumped high and won it down. And then it came back to Hampson. It's still with Hampson. Got a handball to Cochin from a standing start. Kick partially smothered. Bobbles around, almost gets to half forward for Richmond. Oh, Martin with strength. Somehow got a handball out to Grigg. Now into the path of Lambert. Waited for it to bounce. Shoots it, goal and kicks it.
He's your boy.
Richmond back in front with Lambert second. It's the Tigers by 5 points, and that is a really important answering goal so quickly after 90 seconds of the final term.
And Hampson didn't sort of have control of it, did he? Didn't know what he was doing, but he kept at it and kept at it. He finished his little knock away, provided them access, and they all went to him straight away to acknowledge his input.
He's been good, Hampson. He's given the first use of the ball all night. Martin just is stemming the flow for mine. He's so confident with the ball in his hands. You've got a fair idea something good is going to come from it. This has been contrast to the Richmond team tonight.
8 lead changes. Richmond by 5 points. Goals coming every 20 seconds of real play in this final term so far. Hampson, neat little tap back over the shoulder to Grigg. Pass to Hampson is sharked. Pinched by Adams, who works it forward to Grundy. He'll get it on to Blair. Not tidy, but Blair has hold of it. Out to Cloak, who's unmarked. He'll bend it through for another. No! He had time to straighten. He could have taken the deliberate shot. He decided to kick the outside of the ball, and while it curled and curled and curled over the post, the goal umpire believed it would have hit the woodwork.
Should have kicked with his right.
Richmond by 4.
Long kick into Rance, who rather than Mark tried to tap it on. Not sure of that option. Grundy comes into the contest. Blair comes through. Oh, he was tackled well by Hampson. Lost control of it. 55 out from Collingwood's goal. Blair goes again. Hampson grabs him again. Ball jars free. It's still a mess, but it comes out Richmond's way with Lloyd. So Lloyd running in the wrong direction. Handballs to Martin. That was a good handball. Martin floats it over the top to McIntosh at centre-half back. The kick out to Brandon Ellis. It hangs in the air a long time, but Brandon Ellis marks it right half back for Richmond. 3 played final term. The Tigers by 4 points.
He dinks it 20 metres up the field to McIntosh. Right half back. Brandon Ellis got forward, but not sufficiently clear of Oxley, so I had to get it straight back to McIntosh, who's under pressure from McCaffer. That's terrible from Richmond, and the kick flops to Taylor Adams, who brings it to Treloar. Collingwood mount another attack. Treloar wheels onto the right boot, runs around Martin, out onto the left boot. He kicks it in the Cloak direction. Out of bounds on the full. Had a yard too much on it.
And 2 players down there, the Magpies, Moore and Cloak. There was just too much carry on the ball. So in the right back pocket, Rance will kick long down the line to the southern side, wanting Vickery against Reid. Lambert did well at the drop, although his handball was straight to Langdon. So Collingwood can go forward again here inside the 50. Moore cut out of position. For Solo, took it on the half volley, snaps over his shoulder. It's close, it's close, it's home! Alex Fasolo has got 4 goals, and the Magpies are back in front. 2 points. Collingwood's lead 9-8-62 to Richmond 8-12-60 at the 4-minute mark of the final quarter.
Everyone is going to remember the kick, which was an incredibly difficult, good one. But I'll tell you what, the pick-up, a half-volley pick-up to actually get it in the first place was a ripper. Oh, yeah, I didn't know how he got there to do it. Just took it, and he took it on the up, and it actually was on the way back up off the ground. Got to it about shin height. That is an incredibly gifted act to do,
It's thrilling stuff in this final term. 5 terrific minutes. Collingwood by 2 points. Bounce going to be outside the circles and will be called back. Grundy and Hampson. Treloar's with Lambert, Cochin and Adams, Grigg and Pendlebury. Thrown up, Grundy with a superior reach, but onto it goes Lambert for the Tigers. Hooley didn't receive the hand pass initially, but did and got it off to Cochin. He works it around to Corey Ellis, whose kick around the wing didn't come off. Martin couldn't get hold of it. Grundy's hand pass wasn't great. Crisp still trying to get it to Blair, who's down in the tackle of Corey Ellis. He's done a really good job to win that back for Richmond. Martin out the back to Cochin, looking for a target inboard and finding one in Hampson. Wants to link it up with McIntosh running out of half-back. Kicks to 2-on-2 in the forward line. A classic one-on-one mark. He planted, launched and leapt over the top of Langdon. Pulled down the mark at the top of his reach. And can go back and have the shot at goal.
And Langdon's coming in, setting himself the mark, wondering where this bloke's coming from. And he arrived.
No angle, 40 out. Revolt kicks the goal. 10th lead change of the night. Richmond back in front by 4 points. 9-12 to 9-8. 6.5 gone of the final term.
Certainly has opened up, hasn't it?
Oh, it has. It has gone for excitement. I'm just feeling a bit sorry for Langdon. I'm not sure how he ended up on him anyway. I mean, you wouldn't have thought that Freewold was his size and shape given everything else down there. So there's been a mix-up, I reckon, in who was responsible for who. But it wasn't great. I'd give him his due. It was a super mark.
7 minutes have been played in this final term. The Tigers still with their noses in front by 4 points. Back in the middle, Galt in the ruck for Collingwood, won it down, then forced to tackle inside the centre circles. It'll be thrown up with Townsend on the bottom of the pack for Richmond. Tense times. Revolt, third man up, wins it down. Brandon Ellis is tackled by Crisp, still inside the centre circles. It'll be thrown up again. Umpire takes it, quickly throws it up. Galt tried to grab it out of the ruck and then tried to get a kick away. It went about half a metre back into the congestion, thrown up again.
It's almost as if Rewald's doing the roughhead Hawthorn, forward coming up and being quite lively there at centre bounces.
Big body.
Galt wins the tap down. Miles takes possession. Handballs to Lambert. Rushes a kick. Only as far as Aish, who gets tackled. Got a handball away. But it's straight to short of Richmond, who kicks it to the top of the 50. Vickery caught behind. Crisp comes to the contest late and marks for the Magpies.
Crisp goes out the far side. Pendlebury's his target. Hooley arrived, made the spoil, banged it out toward the boundary and got it out of play.
He's been good, Hooley. Probably none better over the 4 quarters than Hooley.
So doesn't get beaten in one-on-one contest, does he?
No, he doesn't. And I know I don't want to influence you seeing you give him the votes tonight, but he's been pretty good.
Near enough to halfway on the throw-in. Hampson wins it down to Lambert. Kicks up towards the 50. Nathan Brown best placed for Collingwood in the middle of the pack to take the mark. Oh, it's a dicey kick on the way out. It will just do enough to clear Menadue and be tidied up by Aish, so that's a bit of an escape. Hand pass to Sinclair, out of half back. His kick's a beauty to Blair. Blair's going to link this up with Ramsey, who'll kick Collingwood inside the 50, away from McCaffer though, and McIntosh intercepts for Richmond.
He kicks back to fullback to Rance, who is told to play on. There's not a lot that he likes further forward, so he'll have to kick to a contest. Asprey has to beat 2. He jumps up into the pack. Couldn't mark, but was able to tap it on towards Menadue. They came at him, though. They locked the ball up, the Magpie midfielders, and at least cause a stoppage. A throw-up between wing and half-forward right for the Magpies. Up to 9 minutes in the final term. Collingwood down by 4 points. Galt taps it down, but it's a Richmond ball to Grigg. Handballs to Miles, rushes a kick to the members' wing. Martin takes the mark for the Tigers just inside the field of play. Wants his forwards to come at him, and that's what Vickery does, and low down. He marks on his chest. Front left corner of the square. He handballed back to Martin, who wasn't ready for it. Had a fumble. Vickery there in support. Gets a handball away. Menadue, Hooley, clever knock on to Griffiths. Wide handball to Ellis. Just gets his kick away in time, and it's a good kick. And low down Lambert has marked it just inside the 50 at right half forward. It wasn't pretty, but it was effective. We were commenting on Lambert in the second quarter that he gets good penetration with his kicking. This will take his absolute best in the final term at right half forward. He'll have to kick it about 52 metres. He's not going to go for goal. He sees revolts! And Jack has come out and marked it full forward, 20 from goal, straight in front. It was like it was a set play.
It was. No doubt it was, and sadly the opposition weren't aware. They were relying on him going back to have a long kick. There should have been a body on Rewald. Should never been able to get away like that and have a clean run at it, like 15 metres ahead of the 10-metre square. Well, that's just a joke.
Revolt comes in, pokes it through. He's got second in the 2 goals in the final term, and Richmond's lead now is 10 points. 2 crucial goals to Jack Riewoldt in the final term, and that is a very, very handy lead to the Tigers at the 11-minute mark of the final quarter.
It's a bit hard to see in terms of the way the game's been played, how Collingwood can get. They need 3 or 4 now to make sure of the result, because Richmond have got a bit of a hold and a bit of a
momentum,
run.
haven't they?
Yep, they seem to have got a bit of a sniff now.
Only the 12th minute of the final term. 10 points though. The biggest lead of the night is 11. Riewoldt with the last 2 goals in the game. Bounced in the middle. Galtner's gone in there for Collingwood. He probably won the tap, but nothing came of it. And a free kick has been paid for holding the ball to Richmond, with De Goey adjudged to have pulled it in. Lloyd to take it. He's got Floston working up in the centre square for him. He gets motoring, gets distance, pumps it to full forward. Vickery had his name written all over it. Perfectly placed and weighted by Floston.
The King to advantage quite well. Richmond at the moment, they're going forward. The last one, prior to Riewoldt's marks, he just lobbed into the hole, allowing him to run and jump at it. And again there for Vickery, kicked into the space, understanding where he's looping around to run back into it.
The angle is tight enough to the left, but Vickery is close in. Be 20 metres away from the target. Right foot drop punt, pierces the middle. Vickery's second. Richmond with the biggest lead of the night at 16 points, approaching the halfway mark of the final term. 11-12-78 to Collingwood 9-8-62. Lindsay Gilbey.
Yeah, just watching that last centre bounce, what happened there is Floston just uncontested, come virtually straight off the back of the square from the Richmond backline, but the Collingwood mids virtually spread straight forward without even turning around to look to find a man. You have to find your man first and reference from there.
Can we ask Lindsay, what about the numbers? Either Richmond or Collingwood playing with less?
Well, we see Miles coming off the back of the square now. Collingwood are trying to hold 6, and Richmond have done it this quarter, and it's worked well.
In the middle we go again. 3 goals in a row to the Tigers. Cochin with a handball back into the traffic. Crisp trying to break clear with the ball. He couldn't. It's locked up. It'll be thrown up. So it's 3 goals in 7 minutes to Richmond, after Collingwood kicked 2 of the first 3 goals of this term. And it's the biggest lead of the game, as Jared said. Griffiths wins the tap down. Aish is there. He gets tackled to the ground, still inside the centre square. It'll be thrown up. Pendlebury on the bench. McCaffrey on the bench. So 2 of Collingwood's leaders on the pine as it stands. Grigg, third man out, knocks it down but straight to Oxley. Handballs out wide to De Goey, who has to go to Williams under pressure. Back to De Goey. Tackled off his kick. Should be a mark to Grigg. It is. He takes it on his chest, back poke of the square for Richmond.
Trots away, taking his time. Given a hurry up by the spreads out to the left for Hunt. Had a devil of a time in the third term. Wedges this one over the top to Astbury. Asprey's got Menadue down the line. It hangs in the air but reaches in before Aish does, and Aish chops the arms. Aish has had 9 disposals, all hand passes, and a quiet debut for Collingwood. Off to the side to Cochin. Kick to full forward. Lloyd leapt into the pack, couldn't bring it down. They fight for it underneath. Sinclair tackles, and the ball stays in. Townsend the last man to rise. This is 40 metres out from the Richmond goal. Collingwood on a knife edge. They can't concede here. Vickery taps it down. Blair gets hold of it. Off to Treloar. Kicks the Magpies around the wing for Solo. Strong stuff before he gets clouded around the ear by Floston.
Yeah, really strong mark to Fasolo on the members' wing. But he can't move it quickly. He didn't like any options further down the field, so he retreats and goes backwards to Reid at defensive 50, right half back. And Reid goes in short to Oxley, still right half back for the Magpies. Almost up to 16 minutes in the final quarter, with Collingwood down by 16 points but with possession. Oxley backward to Reid, back to Oxley. Kick to kick on the MCG between the two of them. Oxley goes towards Blair, presenting, and that's a good mark with Hawley right on his hammer, but he's still at half back. Not a lot of movement further forward for Blair.
That's 6 possessions for about 20 metres.
Blair will kick now to a contest. Grundy is not in the contest. Easy defensive mark to Alex Rance. He'll centre it up.
That was a great phase for Richmond. Rance goes back to Floston at half back. McIntosh gets himself clear on the wing. Brandon Ellis will revolt down the line. Now the lateral kick to Cochin. Cochin will work it around the back with Rance, not 15, so he's got to go. The kick across the face of goal. Hangs in the air for Solo, closes, makes the spoil on Hunt. For Solo, chases hard in the pocket. Hunt brings him down. For Solo has the footy. He needs the reinforcements to arrive. They didn't. Hunt wins it back, paddles it clear, not to advantage though. Taylor Adams on the boundary, kicks to full forward. Grundy's got it. He dropped it. He dropped a pud. And it's going to result in Treloar with a hand pass out to Aish, who tumbles it through for a goal. That's the road less travelled. It's Aish's first kick as a Magpie. And a critical goal, which keeps them in it. 10-8-68 to Richmond, 11-12-78. 18th minute of the final term.
Do you remember Keystone Cops? Were you old enough or young enough?
No, you're showing your age, Parker.
Oh, well, it was just a bit like that. They tried very hard to muck it up and give it back about 4 times, and they finally scored.
Yeah.
Remarkably scored.
We'll take Parker's word for it, sorry.
Oh, yes, we'll have to.
It was when television was black and white.
Solo's having a good night, isn't he?
He's been instrumental.
Provide that goal for the Magpies. In the middle, Hampson wins it down, but it comes to Grundy from a standing start. Kicks to centre half forward. Moore caught out of position, and Rance again in front. Very strong. In fact, it's going to be a free kick. Still Richmond ball to Asprey, who was held. And he will kick it to Rance, so he'll get a kick anyway. Rance, as he darts away from McCaffer, gives the handball out. And now McIntosh kicking down towards Townsend, who marks on the members' wing for the Tigers. 18.5 played final term. Richmond's lead 10 points. Short into Martin. Martin short to Ellis. That's Brandon Ellis, who was so good in the first half. Just trying to hold possession, the Tigers, which can be dangerous. Ellis will now kick to a contest. He wants revolt. There are 3 Magpies around him. Vickery came back and crashed the pack. The ball spits out of play for a throw-in as the crowd comes up. Jared, it's 72,761, so a similar crowd to what we had on Easter Monday.
Tossed in at half forward for Richmond, leading by 10 points. Cochin working under the pack. Through the legs went Martin to try to release it. Around with Taylor Adams, who's in the tackle of Corey Ellis. Balled up in the same spot. Up it goes. Hampson gets rid of Grundy. Knocked it down to Treloar, though. He got caught and he dropped it. A winning tackle from Lambert. 60 metres out from goal. Going to see if they can take another towering mark. Vickery Griffiths, the big leap. Probably should have hung on. Sinclair hand passes. Oxley got caught by Revolt. He dropped it. Martin off the outside of the boot. It bends too far. Richmond by 11 points. About to hit time on.
Williams, another dodgy kick in. He's missed the target of Reid, who's in trouble. He's lost it. Greek collects. He goes at goal, and he's missed everything to the right-hand side, which means Williams has to kick it in, whether he likes it or not, because he was close to the out of bounds on the full.
He'd be having nightmares. He won't be able to sleep for a week.
This time he's just going to kick it as far as he can. Outside 50, nearly a Richmond mark to Rance. He dropped it, he goes up, picks it up off the turf. Handballs to Hawley, back inside the 50 for the Tigers. Frost has a fresh air shot. Vickery's in the square. There's Jack as well! 3 to Jack in the final term! Richmond now by 17 points as we tick into time on in the final term. Collingwood making an absolute mess of it in defence. Revolt came from stage right and kicked the goal. A hat-trick.
Yeah, I like Frost. I reckon he's a really honest and, keen kid about it, but he's just not confident or competent.
He's undersized. Well,
yeah.
those guys.
Yeah, he's being asked to do a huge job and doesn't have the physical. No, he's not frightened or anything like that. Has the courage, but just can't compete against the blokes he's expected to compete against.
Richmond by 17 points. It's all for Collingwood to do now. The bounce is terrible outside the circles.
Yes, he's got Marley Williams disease.
Nick Foot tosses it up. Grundy leaps, wins the tap, but straight down to Martin. He bounces the Tigers up to half forward. Rounded up though by Crisp, who gives it to Reid. Kicks out the southern side for Treloar. Treloar brings it inboard for Grundy. The side of the centre square, up at halfway. He prods it for Crisp, who dives forward, drops the chest mark. It's a costly turnover. Cotchin and Brandon Ellis combine once and twice. Ellis kicks it inside the 50. He's favoured Williams, though. Williams couldn't take the mark with the flight. Townsend keeps him honest. This kick is good, and it finds Treloar beyond the defensive 50.
Adam Treloar towards the wing. Pendlebury jumps early and takes the mark. It was quite clever from Pendlebury. He wants to get on with it quickly. The Magpies running out of time. He kicks in the cloak direction against Rance. Rance with the spoil. The ball stays in play. DeGoey collects for the Magpies. He kicks up to full forward for Solo. Didn't quite stick for him. Good defensive work. No, it wasn't. The Solo's ball. A mark.
Yep.
Yeah, gee, he didn't hold it for very long.
He didn't. Yours was a very accurate call. I'm not so sure the umpires were.
So Alex Fasolo has kicked 4 goals and almost a lone hand up forward for the Magpies. He's 30 out in the pocket. It's a set shot, a drop punt. That is good enough. It was close to the right-hand goal post, but it is a goal. And the margin back to 11 points. The Magpies just holding on. But it is Richmond 12-13, 85. Collingwood 11-8, 74 at the 23-minute mark of the final quarter.
Solo's trying to generate some excitement out there amongst his teammates.
They didn't respond very well.
They're not getting much from them.
No.
At all.
I can't remember ever saying this, but come on, Pies.
The next goal would bring them to life. But it was a muted response. In fact, the Social Club in doubt after the last goal. There'll be a good, if this happens, there'll be a good few who miss it. Richmond by 11. 24 minutes up in this final term. Plenty of goals in it, though. Goal. Won the tap. Cochin the clearance, though. Hand pass to Grigg. Bouncing ball through half forward. Reid tidies up for Collingwood, although his hand pass is not terribly good. Set Ramsey a task. He tried to knock it on. Menadou disputes it. Well settled by Ramsey. Calm hand pass to Oxley. Over to Treloar. And up now to Adams. Back to Treloar on the wing. He's got to go quickly. He kicked it too fiercely backwards. He missed Pendlebury, but Griffiths fumbled. Grigg gets him to tidy it up, so the Tigers do work the turnover. Miles can kick it to Vickery, who's on his own. Lloyd is even more on his own over the mark. Here's the kick. It hangs. By the time it got to him, they'd all got there too. Reid out of the back pocket. Hand pass wasn't much good. Revolt dragged down by Sinclair. Martin brushes clear, centres the ball, and Grigg takes the mark. 48 metres from goal.
Treloar just biting off a little bit too much there. Getting pushed just as he kicked.
Hand pass to Hooley, who takes the long-range shot and misses to the left. Richmond by 12 points. 25 up on the clock.
Still a chance, Jared, for a super over. Straight down the middle with a short kick to Nathan Brown. No one on the mark, so he plays on and goes as long as he can to midfield. One in cloak in a wrestle. He gets to the back now. Blair will go off the ground and kick to the 50. Chases after his own ball. Still with Blair. Taps it towards for Solo. Can he keep it in? He can't. He gets knocked over the line and it will be thrown in. 40 around from Collingwood's goal. 25 and a half minutes played. Richmond by 12 points. Thrown in. Oxley, third man up. Taps it Collingwood's way. Miles there for Richmond. He couldn't pick it up. McCaffrey goes in. He gets tackled by McIntosh, 40 from Collingwood's goal. Now a throw up. tick into 26 minutes. Thrown up quickly. Galt in the ruck for Collingwood. There's a hold of the jumper. It's a Collingwood free kick. It looked like they were holding each other, to be fair. But Corey Galt, who earlier in the second term didn't want to take the shot from here, didn't think he could make the distance, is going to have another chance. So good in the pre-season. Corey Galt, the kick from 50. He's hit it okay. I reckon it's going to fall just a little bit short. It does, and Hampson gets back for Richmond and knocks it through for a rush behind. Richmond's lead 11 points, nearly 27 gone in the final term.
But the siren is not imminent. There's a lot that could potentially still happen. Hooley plays on out of the square. He kicks it wide and hard. Revolt lopes up, leaps. It's knocked away by Langdon. It's out of bounds. Right half forward for Collingwood. Galt rucking against Hampson. Hampson puts it down underfoot. Treloar breaking clear. Hand pass to Pendlebury. Quick hands to Ngoe. He'll send it to the teeth of goal. There's plenty of defenders back there. Moore nearly leapt over the top of them. Rance gets onto the crumb. He kicks it in a hurry and he kicks it well. And Grigg was camped at the defensive 50 to mark.
Very important work there from Alex Rance. Sean Grigg short pass to Martin. So again we have Richmond just try to chew time off the clock. Martin will go short to Miles, who has to stretch, but he does take the mark at left half back for the Tigers. He's thinking about going to a contest, Miles, because there are no short options. So he does that now. Vickery and Hampson in the pack. Neither could mark. Off hands. Galt for Collingwood. Handball to Nathan Brown. Pumps a handball to Williams. Williams into midfield. Inside the centre square. Stretching and marking is McCaffer. Handball to Sinclair. Now to Adams. Adams just chisels a kick. There's a free kick to Collingwood against Rance. And another shot at goal for Alex Fasolo. Rance knew straight away that he'd given away the free kick. Fasolo quickly onto this. It's a set shot, but it's almost like a play-on situation. He senses there's not a lot of time, and he has got 6. Straight through the middle from Alex Fasolo, and it is 5 points Richmond's lead at the 28.5-minute mark.
Well, Rance needs a good spanking, really. In that position of the game, he just didn't even play the contest in the way that
I think Rance is used to playing on a bigger opponent. Solo just went to ground with a bit of a shove. Yeah. A bit of holding as well.
What a strange few minutes it's been. There's still a minute 46 on the clock. And the Collingwood fans, half of whom have emptied out, those who are here are aware of the fact that this is very winnable. They're 5 points down and Richmond is not the best at soaking up seconds. Bounced in the middle, Grundy, clean tap. Greenwood's on the break. He drives the Pies to full forward. Richmond have it covered. They have it covered and Floston takes the mark. They had one spare back and controlled the airwaves well. Kick into the back pocket for McIntosh. Hooley's pleading for it 15 metres away. McIntosh is getting into a much dicier situation. No mark taken. Lloyd at the back. Nathan Brown disputing it. It's out of play at right half forward for Collingwood. 5 points in it. The Magpies in attack. Looking for the go-ahead goal. Thrown in. Hampson down to Cochin. Wedges out a kick. Didn't go far enough. Ramsey intercepts. The Magpies break through the middle. Hand pass to Williams. Thumping ball in the cloak direction. He's up against plenty. Hooley underneath. Hand pass finds Cochin. Works it away to Corey Ellis. Hand pass to Miles. Gives it to Brandon Ellis. He's out of space. His hand pass is smothered. The Magpies are possessed. Brandon Ellis holds them at bay. And gets a stoppage. On the members' wing. There's still time enough to conjure a score. Langdon, third man up. It flips out the side. Onto it goes Greenwood for Collingwood. Hand passes it around to Ramsey, to Reid, to Sinclair. Opening the play up to Williams. He sends it into Grundy. Now to Treloar. The Magpies are on. Treloar to full forward. For Solo, was he held? He'll crumb in the pocket, wheel around. Hooley got him dispossessed. past him. Save the day. Froston kicks it away. It's deliberate. It's deliberate. There's going to be a shot at goal potentially after the siren. The Magpies with one last chance. Darcy Moore is at the juncture of 50 and the boundary. He's so tight to the fence, it's hard to get the angle right. They're 5 points down. Moore is the promised child for Collingwood. It would take an extraordinary kick. He goes to full forward. Pendlebury leads offhand. Grundy! It's the biggest steal I've ever seen. It could only happen to Richmond. Preposterous. Ludicrous. Outrageous. Egregious. There are Collingwood fans at Richmond Station who have just heard their team win with a Grundy goal off the pack with 4 seconds left on the clock after they were 17 points down and cooked. Well, this will haunt Richmond for the year. They've thrown it away. Hampson out of the middle. The siren beats the play. And the Magpies have come from the heavens. They swoop to victory by a point. It's delirium. Black and white in the G.
There are no Collingwood supporters left to enjoy it. That's the classic.
Collingwood 13 goals, 9, 87. Defeat Richmond 12-14, 86. The Tigers led by a point at quarter time, by 5 at half time, by 5 at three-quarter time. They led by 17 points in time on of the final term and somehow coughed up 3 goals at the death to go down by a point. Fasolo kicked 6 for the winners. Grundy kicked 2. DeGoey, Langdon, Aish, Moore and Cloak kicked 1 each. Revolt booted 3. So too did Short. Lambert and Vickery kicked 2 each. Martin and Lloyd with 1 apiece. Victory from the jaws of defeat. Defeat from the jaws of victory. It's a result that absolutely breaks both ways. And they're both 1-1 as they leave the grounds. I look forward to Brad Sewell and David Parkin trying to explain exactly how that happens at the end. But all I'll say is I did promise you at half-time that it would get better. And she got better.
Well, it did. I think we went for 3.9 quarters with some of the worst football I've seen for a long while, including it did get better, there's no doubt about that, but to predict that from where they were wasn't like couldn't have, and the way that it unfolded. And
Solo kicked the first of those last 3 goals there and was running around, lifting his arms, trying to get his teammates up and about.
No response.
Get them enthusiasm, and there was none from his teammates. There's no
agreed.
They fell over the line in every sense of the word just then.
Well, you're right, Shirley, because at that stage he was trying to rouse up. The supporters of all, they're all going up the aisles and have gone home. They'll all be on Richmond Station up catching the train. So we were, in the fact, we're a bit privileged to see what was totally and utterly an unpredictable finish. And to do it as well, that has massive, ramifications fraud.
It just highlights all the questions that we had for Richmond in terms of all their heart. I mean, their leaders are the ones that should be standing up at that point in time and putting numbers behind the ball or pointing and directing, just trying to stem the flow there. At some stage, and there was none of that then.
There were 11 lead changes in the game, and the last in the final seconds, Collingwood by a point. If WA hasn't left yet to go to the Waffles, South Fremantle and East Perth, we will bid you adieu there. Lindsay Gilby, you've got anything to add?
I'm pretty sure Dimmer Hardwick will review the last three centre bounces. And how they come about and where they went unstuck, because it wasn't pretty footy from Collingwood. All they did is they attacked not too far out from goal, about 20 to 30 metres out from goal, to try make it a bit of a wrestle there. They got that, and you just rely on a bit of luck, and they end up getting that through Brodie Grundy.
Paul Pepper-Ruckman snaps a goal from the middle of the pack.
And the last person on either side you think would be in a position and would accomplish that. So, there was some unpredictable and pretty exciting things, weren't there, that happened in the finish. And they'll get a fair bit of confidence out, I suppose, because at no stages in the game, well, it got better. Jared's right, it did get better.
It started to open up last in the second half.
I was trying to ask you, and I didn't ask the question properly, but did they play short? Was Ellis off? Were they playing one short, Richmond?
No, Asprey ended up coming back onto the ground. They ended up having three. They only lost Grimes in the end. Short went off with the shoulder, probably got a little bit of help to come back on. And he was a quite good contributor in that.
They're repeat offenders, Richmond. They are the worst runners of the clock in the league. Bar none. They're terrible when they try to run the clock.
The thing about that, Jared, is there's running time, and so you'd know. You can't chip backwards to a guy who gets manned up, and he can't chip backwards to another guy. You're better off taking your time. You go long down the line, close to the boundary line, get another stoppage, get it out of bounds, allows your forwards to get up, reset, your defenders to be able to get their man. It's just smart footy.
They're their own worst enemy. They really are. You only chip backwards unless you can take ground, or you've got someone else
to go through. You've got
the secondary that can then play on.
Yeah, so
I still can't believe it. I'm in a bit of shock.
And give some due to Fasolo, who
he was fantastic.
Well, he's better over that head than we give him credit for.
Yes,
he really is.
We will savour this with Collingwood. It's the first win of the season, and how Adam White, who was in the Richmond rooms, has moved to the Magpie rooms. Whitey?
Everyone was setting up, Jared, in the Richmond rooms, all the television crews, the radio crews, and they've all had to hustle at the last minute to get across. They're just starting to come in now, led by Scott Pendlebury, Marley Williams and Adam Treloar. Nathan Buckley was pacing up and down near the coach's room. He couldn't get the smile off his face, but it was one of real relief. Eddie Maguire is celebrating with the Collingwood boys. Nathan Buckley can't wipe the smile off his face. They're showering Adam Treloar and James H in the middle of the circle with sports drinks. I don't think they can quite work out what's happened. With literally seconds remaining, they are bouncing up and down. I reckon Darcy Moore was the most excited of all. Nathan's just looked across and said, did that just happen? Quite incredible. I think they're all going to go into the room now, and then we'll come back. We're going to speak to one of the men of the moment, one of the men of the week in Adam Treloar. He wanted to come to Melbourne, Jared, to play in big games at the MCG. He's just tasted it, and we'll speak to him shortly.
David, just reach into your old coaching bag. What do you say to them in this moment? When Nathan Buckley takes them in,
what would I say? We're saying, the moment, and I was just looking then, even the people we were critical of, Aish, Cloak, McCaffer, Frost, Moore, and Gold. Each of those in the ladder, all contributed something when they were under pressure, hadn't been productive players over 4 quarters. But your moment comes. We always talk about that as coaches. And every one of those players, Cloak throughout the night did some really, really important inputs, if you like. Young Asia would be critical. Got a goal, didn't he? He finally got a goal for one of the few kicks that he had. Darcy Moore always looked like he was going to create something down there. Young Galt, I think, has got potential but doesn't get it enough. But he did a terrific climb up and contest.
A couple of good contests here.
Contest down there, which allowed them to control the ball. So I think you go looking for individual positives, if you like, Jared, rather than the team thing. You don't get there unless it's a team, but almost every player in the game, which was, I thought, very, very ordinary in terms of its level, there were some terrific individual efforts at a time when Collingwood needed people who hadn't done much to put up their hand and do something in the moment. And I think that happened 6 or 7 times in the last 3 minutes through players who had not really contributed too much during the day.
The final score at the MCG, Collingwood 13-9-87 defeat Richmond 12-14-86. The Magpies by 1 point with a goal with 4 seconds remaining. To a News Radio audience, good night. And we'll take the next half hour to savour it. So that's the Collingwood side of things.
Well,
I now want to move you to Damien Hardwick. Yep. So he has torn the paint off the walls with this group before. 4 lapses like this, for losing from positions of strength, if not utter command. What's his tactic now?
Well, I think they, despite the quality of the game again, I would have thought they've had 50 or something. They've had the ball 50 more times than the opposition. I think they created, you go back to where the game was lost, and it was lost when they created from their inside 50s, double, I think, the number of opportunities or scoring opportunities, and just didn't put them away. And that comes back, sometimes it comes back to bite you on the backside, as it did tonight. So you go to the finish, and certainly you've talked about the scenario that's set up, and they were a disaster in the way they set up the finish, and that you've said they're probably the worst team in the competition right now. Probably for 3 years they've undone themselves in games just like tonight, not probably as bad as game, but in games where they should have won, they weren't able to control their lead. But it was, so that's one element that certainly will be fluid. But the other element is you get chance in this game, and you get opportunities against Collingwood or anybody else where you've just got to put them away. And they should have been 4 or 5 goals up by half time of the amount of play that they had and the ball that they had. Didn't. So they've lost it twice. Lost it by not being able to convert the opportunities. They've lost the finish by not playing the scenario. I would have thought surely it would have been practiced, particularly by them who've been absolutely pathetic in holding on to a lead.
I mean, I didn't notice, Lindsay, you might have noticed something that I didn't, but I didn't notice the change of structure late in the game there. See, I'm sure you guys have trained it. We certainly did. Games like that where you were either down by a close margin or you're up by a close margin, you change position, you put guys in different spots on the ground to try and ensure that you're giving yourself the greatest opportunity to score, or for them not to score.
Yeah, it's what usually happens in scenarios like that, and this is something that the behind the ground vision that all coaches get access to is where it went wrong, and okay, next time what do we do to get it better? So what most clubs would be pretty similar is they would roll their wings back to become extra defenders, and they're half. So
we're in charge of the game with 3 goals.
Yep, Richmond are up with a few points to go. So what would happen? Okay, their wingers would go back and play as extra defenders. What will the opposition's team do? They would normally go with them. Okay, so virtually it makes it an 8v8 in their forward line because they want to clog it up. So then their half forwards take the wing rolls, and then so on and so on. So, but it's important in regards to a clearance. You don't just bomb it your way, because more often than not, Collingwood tonight would have the opposition, the outnumber down that end. So what you have to do is be smart. You got to, if you win that clearance, you kick it as far and wide as you can out to the wings, so then you get to neutralise it. So it'd be interesting to see once they review the tape if any of those things took place.
For Richmond, it might be interesting. Not for Richmond, it won't be interesting. I mean that either that hasn't been coached and it hasn't been set up, or there was no communication, there's no direction, nobody actually did it out there.
And that's the point with Richmond.
And
can I just make this point? The point with Richmond we all see from the outside is the lack of genuine leadership in the sense of direction to be given by a respected person. You need 5 or 6 of those on the field trusting them to tell you when you're a young bloke and not sure where you should be going, there'll be people out there who know it and demand it of you, and you follow through on it. And I think that's been a criticism from outside. I'm not sure from inside. I'm not close enough to know. But certainly from us, we think they lack real, genuine leadership. That's people who know what they're about, are strong enough to give the direction to somebody else and then lay it on them, demand it from them.
You wonder if fatigue plays a factor in that, by not getting it done. You're sitting there playing a heavy breaths, trying to get it shouldn't do. It shouldn't.
It does, but it's no excuse.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying it's an excuse, but it should get done in those situations where they might have had young Short playing his first game. He might be resting on his laurels, not sure, but he could have maybe...
Well, that is provided they have those strategies in place, first and foremost. And if they do, what are those trigger points to go into those different phases of the game so that they know that they're rolling their wingers back, or maybe just plonking one back in the hole? Their forwards are coming up to chew up that space and find their spares as well. So firstly, is that a strategy of theirs? B, how's that message getting out to them and when they're to go into that phase? And C, who's actually instructing on ground and telling guys where to set up?
It's amazing. You would look up at the clock, and I did as a player, I know, I'm sure you did too. You would look at the clock and say, okay, it's a 28, 29 minute mark, we're up by 3 points. Straight away, used to click in, okay, we know what to do. Okay, back when I was playing, you put the wingers behind the ball, half forwards come up, play the wing positions, and so on and so on. We might only...
You wouldn't even have to direct it.
No, you just go and do it anyway. So that's going back to your point. That's maybe, I'm not sure, I don't know, the inner sanctum is where they lack the leadership to get it done.
When you become efficient at that, you can have 2 or 3 guys in the field, get in the middle and say, geez, we haven't got long to go here, what should we do? Yep, let's roll them back. Right, here we go, this is what we're doing. You're pointing out and yelling and getting it done in that sense, and you become so efficient at it. The message doesn't need to come from the box.
It shouldn't come.
If your leadership group is close enough with the coaches and the coach, and there's enough trust and faith there, then the players have the ability to call out themselves.
Brad and Lindsay, I am convinced, and I look for this all the time, the lack of that in both the sides that play tonight. Collingwood also lack, I'm sorry, but they also lack leadership in the sense of what you've just been talking about. People who demand respect, can play the game and think for other people at the same time and direct it. Collingwood don't have those in great number either. And certainly Richmond have been now fundamentally flawed in that department for the last 3 or 4 seasons. That's a big hit, but unless you have it, you're not going to beat the better sides who are equally as competent of you but have the leadership power that doesn't wait for a coach or a runner. It's actually done, and that's the great strength of Hawthorn over the last 4 or 5
They've
seasons.
got 5 on-field coaches, and 3 of them in the midfield.
Exactly, and we know, and we watch them. We watch Hodge think and direct and point and whack and encourage and grab blokes and throw them in the direction they should be going. I haven't seen that tonight from a single player from either side. So, I mean, that's you just can't win in the finish unless you develop that long. You develop your footballers and you develop the style of play, you develop all those things. But if you're not developing true leadership, which has the capacity beyond the coaches while the game's being played, you cannot win AFL finals and premierships. Absolute fact of life.
So Revolt kicked a goal 20 minutes and 39 seconds into the final term to put Richmond up by 17 points. Collingwood's goals came at 23-13 to Fasolo, at 28-28 to Fasolo, and at 31-50 for Grundy. And in Richmond's time management is they're off. There was much longer left in the game than the way that they acted through those last 4 or 5 minutes. Into the Collingwood rooms, the Magpies by a point. Adam Treloar with Adam Whites.
You sure you've won?
Yeah, mate.
Definitely?
Yes, absolutely. It's amazing.
You came to Melbourne to play in these big games on a Friday night, 72,000, Collingwood versus Richmond. What was that like?
Mate, it's just an amazing feeling. I mean, it was a bit surreal for me out there. And it took a while for the game to get going. It really ticked over in the second half, especially in that last quarter. And then, in particular, when we were down by 3 goals. And for us boys to find momentum, full credit to the guys. And I couldn't hear myself thinking out there. It was just an amazing feeling. And the crowd was just phenomenal. I just couldn't hear anyone.
I'm sure when you made your decision whether to come to Melbourne or stay at the Giants, you would have thought about what it would be like. Was it what you thought it would be like, or even better?
Mate, it's been that and more. I thought that the crowd was going to be massive when I come to games, and I thought, it'll just be big, and I might not be able to hear myself, but it's beyond that. Like, when we really went on that run in that last quarter, like, I'm just talking, it was amazing. I've never experienced anything like that, and hopefully I can experience that week in, week out when I play at the MCG.
And you streaming forward a couple of times late in that last quarter, is it like walking on air?
Yeah, mate, exactly. When you're running and you can't hear a thing, you can't hear anyone calling for it, you're just thinking, hopefully I can see the best option here. Hopefully I can have Scott Pendlebury vision and hit someone up, but that last quarter I was just kicking the ball as far as I could forward.
And you chose the right club, obviously. Why would you go to Richmond when you can go to Collingwood and win?
Yeah, but Richmond are a very good side. They're going to have a great year. They were very unlucky not to win tonight. Actually, we stole it from them in the end, obviously, and they're going to be a great team. And we're building towards a great year, hopefully, and hopefully we can build on this win tonight.
Well, you've got plenty of guys upstairs who want to have a chat to you, Adam. Away you go.
Why do you think you won, Adam? Do you have a feel for how that happened?
I think, we were talking about it before, we think the game is a game of momentum, obviously. And I think in that last 5 to 10 minutes, we really started to win the contested footy and tackle. And when they got their third goal up, we didn't bow our heads. We didn't think, this is it, we're done. If we can get a little momentum, get the ball going forward, maybe sneak a goal here or there, we might be able to get the game swinging our way. And that's what we did in the end. And then who would have thought the ruckman in our team would be standing in the right spot, kicking the winning goal? So it was amazing.
Adam, Lindsay Gilby, well done on your game.
Thank you.
You've come down, obviously, as everyone knows, from the Giants. Yep. Have you learned much from Scott Pendlebury's game? You're a very good player and going to be a star in your own right, but is there anything you've learned off Scott Pendlebury in your short time?
I think, obviously his poise and like his precision, his decision-making is probably the best in the AFL, but not really footy side. I think just his composure, even when we're losing. I mean, he's so cool, calm and collected. If we're losing by 100 points, he's the same person. It doesn't matter. He's still focused and he wants to get the end result. And whether that's a little win here or a little win there, just the way his composure is around the footy club and just in everyday, general day life to life. So that's just been amazing. I'm privileged to play with him.
And Brad Saul here, mate. What did Buck say to you when he took you to the room straight after the song?
Oh, mate, he was pumped. He was very, very pumped. But he kept everything down on the mellow. Obviously, it's a win. It's a great win. We're going to celebrate it, obviously, and appreciate what we got. But then we've got to look forward to next week and really kick the season going. I mean, in reality, if Brodie wasn't standing in that position, we would have lost the game. So we had a little bit of luck fall our way tonight as well.
So how's the contrast between where you are now as opposed to last week off the back of the game against Sydney?
Yep.
I'm assuming you sort of got smashed during the week on the track, and Bucks gave you is ringing a little bit.
Yeah.
You got to keep that momentum going now?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. You're spot on. We were very disappointing last week. We were embarrassing, to be honest. We let ourselves down and we let our fans and the whole club let itself down by the way we performed. And we really wanted to redeem ourselves. And we knew that if we really had the effort and energy and we tackled and could test the ball, and it was basically based on effort last week. It wasn't a lack of structure or nothing. It was just basically we didn't want it. And Sydney come out wanting it from the start. And that's what we wanted to do tonight. And we were patchy here and there, but when it mattered, it counted. And we did it in the last 10 minutes especially. And we snuck away with the win.
Adam, David Parkin, can I ask you, it was a terrific game at the finish. Unfortunately, a lot of the Collingwood people have given up and gone home, so they didn't get the same enjoyment you did. But can I ask you about, we sit here and watch the rotations having been reduced now. You're a midfielder, spent a fair bit of time. I think you're only off twice. Am I right in saying that?
I wouldn't know. I wasn't off much.
But you played last year and you're playing under a new regime. How has it affected you and how does it affect the team? Can you give us an insight into that?
Well, I think you just got to get fitter, basically. That's the thing. I mean, teams and players are going to get found out if they're not fit enough. And I think that comes down to getting your rotations right. I mean, we can't have guys playing 100% of the game in the midfield. I mean, if you really have the gun midfielders like we have Scott Pendlebury and guys like that, even though he spent quite a bit down back, but when we need guys to go through the midfield when the game's on the line, that's what we really do. But then, throughout the game, if we can get numbers and numbers through the middle, I think that's the way footy's going to get played this day and age, because if you're only going to have 3 or 4 players go through the middle, they're going to, tire in the end, and then the other team will probably run away with it. So if we can get plenty of numbers through the midfield and get that going, and I think that holds us in good stead.
And do you hold is it your say, or are you told when it's time, or how do you work that out?
We used to do it like come off when we're rooted, when we're stuffed, but But now it's just generally the bench does it because we can't afford to stuff up the rotations, because if we run out of rotations at an important time, we can't afford that. So we just got to stay out on the ground until they tell us to come out. And I know it's not like the old days when you never want to come off. Sometimes you're out there tonguing it and you want to come off. So we just got to listen out to the bench.
Yep, that's a change, isn't it? Because we knew it got to the stage where players were determining it now has to be done by those ever inside.
Yeah. It's done by the staff.
Thanks for that. That's a good insight.
No worries.
Did they give you a bit of lip out there, Adam?
Nah, they were all good. Obviously, there's a bit of banter here and there, but it was all good. I mean, it was what I expected, and it was great. It'll probably happen next game as well. It's all good fun.
Good on you. Thanks, Adam. Well done.
Thank you.
Adam Treloar, who had 32 disposals in Collingwood's 1-point win over Richmond.
It was a pretty good day, wasn't it, for him? He's a more uncontested player than he is contested, but that's the size and shape he is, and he can run like mad. He had 9 contested and 23 uncontested for the day of his 32 disposals. I think he's been a pretty good get.
And it's usually the other way around, isn't it? It's usually 23 contested, 9 on the outside. He's got a great mix of both. But having a look at Collingwood's team tonight, Treloar, Grundy, De Goey, Moore, Adams and Aish are all in their 4th years and under, all first-round selections. They are stockpiling a fair bit of talent, and they're going to have some shockers along the way. That's footy, and they're young, and they will learn, but they are building a very good young list.
They can keep that group together, as you said. They'll heading in the right direction.
It's funny as you look through your notes to scroll down. I've scribbled down sort of late in the last quarter. They're just ordinary. They're just ordinary. They kicked 3 goals and now they're on the right side of it.
No, you're right.
Richmond are frauds.
It was an ordinary game at stages.
No, I actually thought I thought Collingwood looked just flat ordinary. That was the best word I could think of.
And deserved to get beaten in a sense.
And Richmond's 3-goal margin felt about right when they'd set it up.
Well, they're different when Cloak is firing, aren't they? They look a totally different team. And when Darcy Moore gets 30 to 40 games under his belt, I think they lack one more key defender for mine.
Yeah, Reed's return was excellent.
Absolutely significant.
And Moore's already doing more than Cloak.
Doesn't he?
Yeah. Cloak was okay.
Yeah, he was. But
in comparison to the previous
But the player that he used to be, the best contested mark in the competition and a menacing forward, he's a long way from that. And so far, in fact, that you sort of watch him and think, well, he'll probably never be that player again. So you wait.
100%.
Yeah, so Moore shows all the traits of a fine young forward, but we know they take time. No.
We're still sitting here thinking we didn't really see that.
Well, it all swings on the W and the L, doesn't it? That's the thing. Is if blow the siren, they're 17 points down, and I think we're all looking at Collingwood going, they're nowhere near the 8. They're just not going to be in that mix.
The win can gloss things over, can't it?
I guess that's my point.
Very much so. Well, a bit like last week.
Do they have players to come back in?
Yeah, they have. Well, they've lost Swan, but he's going to miss the year, and they've got Sidebottom, who's at his best, he's silk. So. Yeah, but Richmond have more out than Collingwood have out tonight.
It just shows you how much Richmond missed Deledio, doesn't it? He's such a good player.
I think
Marriage, as I spoke about last week, he's their Mumford, who gets him up, smacks into his opponent, creates a contest, and the guys feed off that. The thing about, I think, Deledio is because you can throw him at half back along with Hooley, and then you got, as you spoke about tonight, you got ball use coming out of that back half. You can throw him forward, and he's a hard matchup because you can play him out of the square, and you've got to have someone quick, agile if the ball comes in along the ground.
Pretty important in their makeup.
And then you throw him into the midfield. Who do you go to, Cochin, Martin or Deledio? I saw Martin start deep forward. I didn't mind that in the last quarter. He was only there for the first few minutes because he's so good around the ball. He creates things from nothing just by putting his arm out.
He's the best in the side at it.
Yep.
He's the best inside player. The constructor, unfortunately, hasn't got the tank to be able to get
so
off
for me,
impact.
This is just my opinion. I think Martin's 18 to 20 possessions are better than Trent Cotchin's 40 for mine.
Well, most of his possessions he got wrapping around the back, just getting dinky little handballs, which is just a number.
That's sort of a lag back. He got out of that. That's when Trent Cotchin's at his least convincing when he's doing that.
He's having no influence on games. He can have his 30 touches and has very little influence.
I thought he'd gotten past that, I must confess. But from the first moments of tonight, there was that really early passage of play where he was wrapping around. And
But what we've seen of both over 2 weeks, they wouldn't make the final 8. Neither of them. And if they did make the final 8, they'd be flogged in the first week. I don't care if you had the players you're talking about. I don't see them as being genuine. They just don't have enough good players in the structure that you need and play with the method that's required. That'd be my view at this stage. I know that's a smart answer to...
No, I agree. And if they do limp in, they're making up too much ground. Yeah. The gap now is too big from what we've seen already, I think.
I don't know how Richmond people go to the footy, to be frank. No, I don't. I don't.
It's going to be tough.
They get their money's worth, though.
Poor old...
You can't sit through that, Lindsay.
Done it for how many years?
And the trouble is they were all here at the finish thinking they were going to win.
Well, they're the ones who saw it.
Yeah, that's exactly.
A third of the Collingwood crowd did it.
As I was making my way up, the stream of Collingwood people just going out of the gate. It was just, I'd love to see their faces come. They would have started streaming back in.
Oh, Richmond Station would have been a sight as it all started to happen.
And you don't, if you're part way out, you don't know whether to turn around and come back. You're not sure, are you?
Once you're committed, you have to keep going.
You got to keep going. Yeah,
once you hit the aisles, there's no turning back.
No, that's true.
I don't know. Collingwood 13 goals 9, 87 by 1 point over Richmond 12, 14, 86. I'll give you all the stats. You lads have a think about the better players and the vote getters from it all. The team stats. Richmond had 393 disposals to Collingwood's 346. The marks, Richmond 104 to 84. The free kicks were Collingwood 26-17. The clearances, Richmond 37-24. The tackles, Collingwood 69-57. The contested possessions, 134 Richmond, 131 Collingwood. The inside 50s, Collingwood 52 to Richmond 50. Individually, Adam Treloar led the way for the Pies, 32 disposals, 17 kicks, 15 hand passes. He took 7 marks. The mix of what David said, 9 contested possessions, 23 uncontested, and 8 inside 50s. Pendlebury had 26, Ramsey had 23, Adams, Oxley, and Greenwood had 21 apiece. For Richmond, Cochin had 38, 18 kicks, 20 hand passes. He went at 68%. He had 8 clearances, 13 contested possessions, and 5 inside 50s. Hawley, 35. Grigg, Martin and Brandon Ellis, 30 each. McIntosh, 28. And then it dipped away to Miles on 19. At the other end of the scale, Grimes got injured early in the game. He's done a hamstring, and with his history of hamstrings, I think Richmond will hold their breath as to how that goes. Jaden Short on debut had 6 disposals. He kicked 3 goals, 1. And Darcy Moore ended up with 7 disposals, 3 marks. He kicked a goal, but he certainly had an influence. The better players.
I thought, well, let's go to Richmond first. I actually like the captain. I think he probably should kick the ball a bit longer and make better options with that. But I think he's maligned. Thought he was pretty good, had 38. I thought the best player for Richmond, and particularly when the game was going to be won, was Hooley for the first 3 quarters, was the most effective player on the ground. Ellis is starting to become the player that he showed the potential with him. And Grigg, we watched Grigg in the warm-up. He's got a broken hand, and with he was wincing and whining when he was collecting the ball in the warm-up, and I thought, well, he's going to struggle tonight. But Grigg was a very competent player for them right across the 4 quarters. Martin, who suggested, I love seeing Martin around the ball, and he's the best straight-arm fender off that I can remember in league football for a heck of a long time. He just appears, I mean, they need him forward to create stuff. They need him in the midfield, but he doesn't work hard enough and long enough, in my opinion. He can't get up and down the ground. Treloar, we talked to, fantastic. He's first off, or second off. Pendlebury, the captain, is just a terrific player. I like Ramsey and Adams, and I love the combination of Reid and Brown down back tonight. I thought they were terrific when the heat was on early. They stood up. And Grundy, I think, is their best option in that regard, despite the young boy who went out injured.
Wits,
yes. That might be a combination that can work now with Grundy's gone forward and kicked a goal. I think he's a forward who kicks goals. I don't think he really is. But, they'd be pleased. Had a few at the bottom end. McCaffrey's struggling to get back to his best. Frost is really struggling down back. Darcy Moore, as you've suggested, is a potential to be a great forward in our game.
And the votes for the ABC Footballer of the Year.
So I've been lumped with the votes again.
I gave you early warning.
I did it last week as well, so I'll back up again. One vote I'm giving to Dustin Martin. I agree with you, Parker, in terms of his work rate, but his cool head and sure hands out there when all those around him were flailing was really important. 2 votes to Hooley. His ball use, decision making set up much of Richmond's drive from the back half. He was probably one of the most consistent players throughout the course of the game.
Agreed.
3 votes to Fasolo. Lone hand for Collingwood as a sort of a mid-sized forward to have walked away, kicking 6 straight when when everyone was sort of bumbling around. I thought his influence was greater than anyone else's.
Good call.
3 for Fasolo, 2 for Hooley and 1 for Martin. The ABC Footballer of the Year. 6 goals for Alex Fasolo, tipping the scales in his favour. Adam White is in the Richmond rooms.
I'm in here. I've got to be very quiet because it is quite extraordinary down here. I mean, I've been down in rooms after losing cutthroat finals and it had that similar feel to it. We came a little bit late in because we had that extended chat to Adam Treloar, but there were players sitting on plastic chairs just staring into space. A lot of shaking of heads, and I actually caught a glimpse of Damien Hardwick in the coach's room with his legs crossed, just staring into space. That's the sort of the mood it is down here. It wasn't sort of anger. I think it was just disbelief. And I mentioned it when we spoke to Adam Treloar. I don't think Collingwood could quite believe what had happened. Well, it's exactly the same in the Richmond rooms, only that it's the fact is that they didn't win. But they've just now gone in behind closed doors, and they'll start to try and work out how the hell that happened.
Yes, that's a familiar sense in the Richmond rooms. 12-14, 86 defeated by Collingwood, 13-9, 87. So,
like to be a little fly on the wall in that one.
Yeah.
So I think right up in the corner.
His approach to that is really interesting. Tomorrow, the showdown, the Crows and Port Adelaide, which will give us a pecking order in South Australia. That's got plenty in it.
You're going, I understand, to see your first ever showdown.
Yeah, I'm
Crows.
looking forward to that.
And then who's going to win?
Crows for me.
Oh,
yeah,
are they?
most definitely.
Yeah.
It's confident.
Yeah, very good last week. And Port, just going.
And then there's on Sunday, the 3 o'clock game is such a highlight with Hawthorn and West Coast meeting. And you can imagine all the conclusions that are going to be drawn out of that. And opinion heavily weighted towards West Coast. I can't remember a time in the past few years where Hawthorn has been doubted to this extent. I guess seeing will be believing on Sunday.
That'll be a beauty.
Yeah, I hope it continues, your little theme that the winners all played the losers, and we've got the first time night the losers got up.
We get to see if we can get to 18 1-1s.
How would that be?
So we'd need Lindsay. All you need is your Adelaide victory there. Anyway, we can plot that as the weekend goes on Grandstand AFL. So Adelaide and Port Adelaide, the main fair tomorrow from the Adelaide Oval. At the MCG, a quite astonishing finish saw Collingwood over Richmond at the death by 1 solitary point.
Collingwood come up with the ball. McCaffrey back into the 50. More! Darcy Moore with a convincing mark and a convincing finish.
He'll kick up inside the 50. Short is on offer, and he plays tall as he leaps up and takes the mark in front of Pendlebury. Is he long enough with the kick? Oh, it's a raking ball from 50. Welcome to senior footy, Jayden Short.
Kick smothered. Still a chance for the Tigers with Martin on the snap from 35. He'll liven up the night. In front, Vickery through his hands. Pendlebury overruns it, and Short picks up. This is a gift. This is a gift. Short's run into an open goal for his third.
Too fierce with his hand pass. Let Fasolo in. He shoots it out to Cloak, who shoots it through for a goal. Ooh. The Maggies grab the lead within 20 seconds at the start of the final term.
Got a handball out to Grigg. Now into the path of Lambert. Waited for it to bounce. Shoots it, goal and kicks it. Richmond back in front with Lambert second. Fasolo took it on the half volley, snaps over his shoulder. It's close, it's home! Alex Fasolo has got 4 goals.
McIntosh running out of half-back. Kicks to 2-on-2 in the forward line. Rolls! A classic one-on-one mark. No angle, 40 out. Revolt kicks the goal.
Frost has a fresh air shot. Vickery's in the square. There's Jack as well. 3 to Jack in the final term. Richmond now by 17 points as we tick into time on in the final term. So Alex Fasolo has kicked 4 goals. It's a set shot, a drop punt. That is good enough. It's the Magpies just holding on.
Can't remember ever saying this, but come on.
Adams just chisels a kick. There's a free kick to Collingwood against Rance. Fasolo quickly onto this. He senses there's not a lot of time, and he has got 6. And it is 5 points, Richmond's lead, at the 28.5-minute mark.
They're 5 points down. He goes to full forward. Pendlebury leads offhand. Grundy! It's the biggest steal I've ever seen. It could only happen to Richmond. Preposterous. Ludicrous. Outrageous. With a Grundy goal off the pack. With 4 seconds left on the clock after they were 17 points down and cooked. Well, this will haunt Richmond for the year. Hampson out of the middle. The siren beats the play. And the Magpies have come from the heaven. They swoop to victory by a point. It's delirium. Black and white in the G.